It's DatBoyFred, host of FanView podcast. Tune into the NOTN app, weekdays, 3:30 for the FanView podcast. Go to NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com to watch more episodes of FanView podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch.
Great day, world. This is Corey Webster, and you're watching FanView podcast. I got the football because of Nick Saban. No other reason. He was telling me exactly. He got vision. You know what I mean? And they talk about he just got the Icon Award for the ESPY. So, and I didn't know what he was going to do, but I trust and believe in his vision at the time. I remember him coming to Vashry, and I'm sitting down with my dad, and he's telling me, I'm an athlete. Remember, I didn't play receiver. I didn't play DB or none of that in high school. You know what I mean? I played strictly quarterback. And he never, just like you talked about, you never came to no football game for us. You ain't see Nick Saban the same. He never came to no football game for me either. Nick Saban only came to basketball games.
He saw them treats.
And he said, if you could take those traits and do and on what is receiver, what is DB, you're going to be fine.
Welcome back to another episode of the FanView podcast. It's your boy G-Sportz.
Coach Hurricane here, back at it again.
You know how we do it, man. Another episode back at it. Make sure y'all subscribe, follow the FanView page on Instagram, X, TikTok, and make sure you follow your boy G-Sportz, man. I'm at 23.1 thousand subscribers. I'm trying to get to 25K before
1.9 left.
Yeah, man. Trying to get to 25K before 2025, man. Let's speak it into existence. We got a really good guest on the show today, man. Louisiana legend, Corey Webster, man. LSU, New York Giants, legend cornerback, Super Bowl champion. I'm going to read off a couple of his accolades for people that might not be a football head out there. Two-time Super Bowl champion, 2003 national champion at LSU, two-time first-team All-American, three-time first-team All-SEC, and was an all-state quarterback and guard in high school, man. Corey, appreciate you coming on the show, bro. I know we've been talking about it for a couple months now. I don't take for granted when people take time out of their busy schedule, man, to come on a podcast and fellowship with us, bro. But we always like to start our podcast off talking about your journey, dog. Bring us back growing up in Vashry. How did the game of football and the game of basketball and the sports in general, get you to where you at today and the man that you are today?
First of all, thanks for having me, man, because it's a blessing to be able to, be on your platform and share my story. And I'm a fan, you know what I mean? So I'm watching you guys. I done sat down and, heard the conversation that you guys have been having, and it's been really good people that y'all been bringing on, and y'all been pulling out a lot of great questions for those individuals so they can deliver, a great narrative. And I think a narrative that's needed because it's based around honesty. So I like that.
No doubt.
But for me, man, just growing up in Vashry, the River Parish, to me, sports was a thing that we got involved with, just being active. It wasn't about, scholarships. It wasn't about professional or nothing like that. It was a way for some of the older men in the village to be able to have a platform for kids to not be idle. You know what I mean? Just to get out and be active. So that's why I got involved in it. My dad just wanted, some type of extracurricular activity for me to be involved in, and I wasn't just sitting down at home. So initially, I started playing everything in Downsonville, Louisiana, just because St. James didn't have any female sports, and I had two older sisters.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So my sister started playing softball and basketball in Downsonville, and I was just a little young guy running around the gym getting everybody way. and even I say this, Shaz Preston, he just transferred to Tulane right now. His mama picked with me till this day because if I was watching them practice, my older sister and her are the same age. If I was watching them practice and the ball came on the other side of the line, I took the ball and got involved just like that. So that's how I was able to get involved early and playing, because they were like, hey, give him something to do. Don't just let him sit down and be idle. Send him to a practice or something like that. So that's basically how my journey started. You know what I mean? Just, my parents wanted me to be active, and older sister was active, so I was following their footsteps.
And as you get ready to go to middle school and you playing sports, and when did you start saying to yourself, I think I got an opportunity to be special in this?
Man, really and truly never. You know what I mean? Me and Michael Clayton have conversations, and we wasn't thinking this at LSU. I'll be perfectly honest with you. So if I'm talking to any kid, man, just have fun and enjoy. This is real life, right? All the way through Little League, Pee Wee, I had success. You know what I mean? We played for the Downsville Redskins. Downsville had a few great athletes that came through there. Jarvis Green, Howard Green, all out of the Green boys. Scholar, I think he missed that. I think he played up here.
That's where our family is from.
Okay.
His Auntie Gladys just moved to Kennedy Heights.
I got you.
He went to Bridge City.
Yeah, he's the only Green that I don't know of playing in with the Downsville Redskins.
Right.
So, really and truly, even going back to the elementary school years, I played, I think, from 4 years old to 8 years old in Downsonville. So won a couple of Super Bowls in Downsonville, Little League Super Bowls. So, I mean, you're playing against the Zachary Broncos. You played against Baker, I think Baker Buffaloes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Northeast, that's a town I never forget their mascot.
Yep.
Assumption Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And I may be short on a couple of other teams. Downsonville Redskins obviously was one of them. And you know, we were just having fun. You know what I mean? It wasn't no he's special. He wasn't none of this that my parents or my dad was feeding me. It was just, again, man, we don't want these kids to get in trouble.
Right.
Let's give them an outlet that they can, you know, use some of this energy. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of our kids have ADHD, ADD. So we just wanted to give them a way to, you know, get some of that energy out. You know what I mean? So never did I ever think that, you know, something was special going on when I was playing youth sports. You know what I mean? That was all the way through, like I said, 9 and 10, 11 and 12. Even playing against go to basketball, JPRD, West Bank, and East Bank. And they had guys like Sharon Carey played for the West Bank.
Yep.
East Bank guy like Michael Burks.
Yeah. Michael Burke went to Rummel.
Yeah, you go.
With
you
the
know what I mean?
Auburn.
Yeah, you go.
Really,
So,
that's a really good player.
playing against those guys, I never thought about that. We was competing against them. Also, we'll go to St. Raphael playing against Chevis Bremer. Duhan played for St. Raphael. So, but never thought of that. We were just competing. You know what I mean? Guys out of Morgan City, Kerwin Jones played for Berwick at the time. Anthony Richardson, Tony played for Morgan City.
Yep.
So just competing, really and truly. You know, never thought nothing special was happening. And now, hindsight, when I go back and ask my daddy some of these stories, you know, because I'm like, Dad, what's going on with some of these parents and some of the things that I see that's going on in
You're right. Right.
You know what I mean? On some of these baseball diamonds and stuff, I'm like, man, it's going crazy. What's going on? So he's like, nah, I never thought of that. But he'd say things like, man, the coach for JPRD West Bank was CJ. I don't know if y'all remember Coach CJ was a well-known staple in the JPRD recreational department. He was the 12-year-old coach. And he said that guy pulled him over a time and said, hey, that little kid, that's special. And my dad was like, I didn't think none of it. I didn't know what he meant by special. Like, what do you mean by special? But he said, I just took it as a compliment, thank you, and kept it moving. So even with people telling him that, he didn't even think of, you know, we having a special situation because of that. You know what I mean? Going to middle school, I went to St. James Junior High because it wasn't a middle school thing. It was the junior high school. We played underneath a coach called Triano. He was a black belt in Taekwondo. So he was very disciplined, very guy on some, you know, martial arts and
Structure.
You know what I mean? So, you know, playing with him, he didn't like the bitty babies because he felt like they was, you know, catering to us a little too much. So he used to give us a hard time because of that. You know what I mean? And I remember being in 7th grade, he was like, man, bitty babies don't play on my 7th grade team, you know what I mean? So let alone my 8th grade team. But I was able to make, both teams and started for both of those teams. But didn't think nothing of being special again, you know what I mean? Because the team consists of people that I've been playing against in the neighborhood, right? So we know these individuals. Even though they may be a little older than me, we all just playing together. We all just competing together. So it wasn't nothing to it. We done got over this stuff in the neighborhood before we even come to the schoolyard on who good or who we think gonna be on our team and stuff like that. So I remember playing in one tournament my 8th grade year. And they had John Curtis, they had J.B. Martin, a lot of the teams, just from around this Louisiana area right here. L.B. Landry, Harry Hurst.
Yep, that's that Hornville area.
Yeah, you're right. So I remember playing against those teams, and I think they had a tournament up here. In my 8th grade year, we didn't lose any games. I think we went like 30-something and 0 in middle school. And at the time, they was, I remember they painted a ball and all that. Well, we still didn't think that was special. Like, we just thought we was just competing, having fun. You know what I mean? So even with doing that, beating the John Curtis, and I forget the other schools that was in the tournaments and stuff that we was in. Never thought that we was doing anything special. We just thought we was having fun, competing, playing ball, and just going to the next.
And then you get to high school and you played early, bro. Like a lot of kids, especially back then, you know, it's more prevalent now when kids play early as a freshman. Back then, if you played as a freshman, let alone a sophomore, you had to be really good. Most kids don't start playing in their junior year. You was able to play early. Take me through that high school transition and how you was able to have so much success early on.
Again, I started everything in Downsville, so it was a group of people that thought I should have went to Ascension Catholic. My older sisters went to Ascension Catholic.
Okay.
It never was a thought in my mind. I didn't care about, these are the guys I grew up with, so this is where I want to go to school at. And then we talked about AAU basketball. I was part of the first, Galleon of Magic's team, which was Mr. Garrett, which is Ross' father. Mr. Garrett started that team. So I was also asked to transfer and go to HL Bourgeois. I'm sorry.
Boy, don't give me.
I'm sorry. I wanted to say South Lafourche. I'm sorry.
You best
No.
this one.
Yeah.
I'm about to call Roger Collins.
Yeah, no.
Be like, Roddy, hold on. How you ain't make this happen?
Yeah, no.
Don't come get me excited.
Yeah, we were talking about project earlier. I'm sorry. No. South Lafourche. And also, before those guys went to South Lafourche, it was Archbishop Hannon. I think the move now is on Mandeville, North Shore, somewhere right there, right? So, coach for the Kenner Eagles at the time, John Branch, he was affiliated with Archbishop Hannon. Ross West was going to Archbishop Hannon for middle school. Yep, so they wanted us, that team, to go to Archbishop Hannon.
Never knew that.
All right. So I had options to go to school. It didn't have, Rumble was an option.
And he was doing that way back
That's
then.
what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I mean? And I was like, nah, I ain't with it. You know what I mean? There was some kids that I could tell you went to different schools and stuff like that.
Your parents did they let you have that decision, or
They gave me the information I needed, but at the end of the day, ultimately, it was my decision. Yeah, they didn't force me to go anywhere or nothing like that, man. I got, not that anybody don't, but I got the best parents, you know what I mean? Mom, dad been together, I don't want to say how many years, because I'm ashamed I don't know. But it's
some decades.
Decades, man. It's, I want to say 30, 40. I got to be more. I'm 42, so they've been married before me. Almost 50 years, they've been together.
Blessing.
So, yeah, it's blessed. And there was a part of being in the village of a lot of other kids as well, you know what I mean? But they didn't force me to go anywhere. They gave me the information, and then, they put the information there and they allowed me to make a decision. So even with having all those, man, I'm gearing up and preparing for this right here, what we're doing, because I want to make sure the FanView get the right information.
Right.
I remember also my daddy gave me this information playing in other states, AAU at the time, a guy from Indiana said, hey, if y'all move up there, we'll make sure that, he's in the right school. We'll make sure you got the right job. So a lot of this was going on. And early on. So a lot of the stuff I try to give the younger kids now is from my experience of being able to deal with. None of this stuff is new. Nothing I'm seeing right now is new. You know what I mean? Different way of doing it, but this stuff been going on for years, right? So having all the information, I was like, Dad, I won't go to. My sisters didn't even go to my high school, right? My sister, we from St. James, we from Vassar. I'm from Magnolia Heights, but my sisters went to Central Cali school, you know what I mean? My mom went to St. Catherine. She went to a Cali school, you know what I mean? So I'm like, nah, I'm going to St. James. And once I made the decision, they supported 110%. So for basketball, again, we have been playing with these individuals since little boys. So I remember going to basketball practice, and I told the head coach, man, I want to start. Out the gate, he was like, this dude crazy. Out the gate.
That's unheard of back in the day, starting as a freshman or a sophomore.
I'm like, I want to start because I know all these individuals on the team.
Right.
I played basketball in the community with them.
Right.
So it's going to be hard for me to sit behind these guys, man.
Right.
I respect them. We play, every day together. We outside. You know what I mean? This is nothing. We ain't playing video games. I know you. I kill you in the basketball court outside, and now you want me to sit down behind him?
Right.
So I remember, and I had that type of a mindset, attitude too. I don't know where it came from. I'll be lying to you, but I remember in my, I just told you my oldest two cousins, one of them, my god girl, when I'm a freshman, they are seniors. So he was on the basketball team. And he ended up graduating from Tulane University, named Meldon Barnes. And another classmate who stayed a house down from me was Derek Elsey. Derek Elsey was our center at the time, played tight end for Tulane, but was our center on the basketball team. Derek maybe about 6'8". So me and Derek ran together every day. I'm a night, but before we was even in high school, we running together every day. So when it came to basketball, me and Derek are familiar with each other because we always on the slab together by the house, you know what I mean? So we go to the high school, I'm like, man, I want to start. So coach like, man, how you gonna start all these upperclassmen here? I'm like, but I'm better than them. And I'm having that conversation in front of the upperclassmen, whatever. So it broke out into, I'm like, man, let's play one-on-one. And we had the one-on-one for the whole team. And the only person beat me was Derek Elsey, who 6'8", right? You know, I got up on him. I think he was going to 7. I got up on him 5-0. And then once I missed, he backed me down the whole time. Now, but again, we live a house down. I'm used to that. I know it's going to happen. Right. You know what I mean? And he was the only guy that beat me. He made it to the championship from his side of the bracket. I made it to the championship from my side of the bracket. That didn't get me the start, though.
Right.
But the coach respected me, then everybody else on the team respected me. So I was the 6th man coming off the bench my freshman year. So that's how I got the playing time that you're talking about.
Gotcha.
Let me ask you this. Because being from Marrero, I didn't know about the basketball side of you. I always knew about the football side because time Picayune, boom. Man, Webster did okay. When did you say, all right, I'm going the football route? And how did you come to like that thinking? Was it like the recruiting? Was it just like, you know, you sit down, talk with your family, or just analyzing the game and the situation where you was at?
Totally honest, Nick Saban. I got the football because of Nick Saban. No other reason. He was telling me exactly, he got vision, you know what I mean? And they talk about, he just got the Icon Award for the ESPY. So, and I didn't know what he was going to do, but I trust and believe in his vision at the time. I remember him coming to Vacherie, and I'm sitting down with my dad, and he's telling me, I'm an athlete. Remember, I didn't play receiver. I didn't play DB or none of that in high school, you know what I mean? I played strictly quarterback. And he never, just like you talked about, you never came to no football game for us. You ain't see Nick Saban the same. He never came to no football game for me either. Nick Saban only came to basketball games.
He saw them treats.
And he said, if you could take those traits and do on what is receiver, what is DB, you're going to be fine. And I want you to come there as you'll be an athlete. I wasn't on Nick Saban radar. Well, I wasn't on LSU radar. I say that because the older guy in front of me was Chad Jasmine. He was the running back leaving from St. James. And he could have went anywhere.
With the Clemson.
Ended up going to Clemson. I was committed to Tulane. Remember, Tulane just had the perfect season, and then Tommy Bowden left and went to Clemson.
Yep.
And that's how he got to Clemson. So, and that's how, what his name is, y'all was talking about West Virginia. Rich Rodriguez. He was offensive coordinator at the time.
Yep.
I told you I'm a fan. I'm checking. Y'all was talking about West Virginia. I'm connecting dots for y'all.
You did. Yeah.
Right?
Story.
Yeah, it is. So, Saban just had vision, and he was telling me at the time, man, look what's going on. I heard y'all also talking about the receiver trend and things like that nature, right? Coaches are behind those trends. Coaches are saying, you know what? I want a 6'5" receiver that's athletic, that can move, and this is where I'm going to change the game of football to go. Or vice versa. If I got 6'5" receivers, then I'm going to need bigger cornerbacks to cover those receivers, right? So where do I go find those guys from? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that don't understand how to recruit yet. You know what I mean? I give them a secret right here. I just told you, Nick Saban isn't just on the football field recruiting, but he also know how to develop as well. So I'm saying that because he'll be in the basketball gym and see a 6'8" or 6'4", power forward that don't have the skills to be a point guard on that level, or don't have the skills to be a shooting guard on the next level. You say, hey, man, I can show you how to make some money. I can show you how to make about $40, $50, $100 million if you come play defensive end, Marcus Spears. I can show you how to play X, Y, and Z linebacker. You know what I mean? Michael Clayton, I can show you how to be a receiver at 6'2", 6'3", 6. Come over here. And even the linebackers that he got for Alabama, hey, man, these linebackers 6'2", everybody trying to figure out where do you find 6'2" linebackers in the basketball gym? You know what I mean? So the vision that he put on us, and then him convincing my father, because I'll tell you the time, like I said, Chad Jasmine was leaving before me, and we had said we wasn't going to LSU. Remember, LSU is not the LSU of now. Nobody's running to go to LSU.
It was not. Definitely wasn't.
Coach Gennardo had just left.
Yep. 3-7. Coach Gennardo last year. 4-4 6 the
Yep.
year before that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody, LSU is not appealing. It's not the LSU that we know today, right?
This is Nick Saban first head coaching job.
All right. And let's go a little further deeper into it. We're in the South of Louisiana and the politics that runs with Louisiana. So my dad is a African-American man that grows up in South Louisiana. LSU is not a place for African-American men at the time because they're not graduating the athletes. They're not making sure the athletes are graduating. They're getting everything out of these because I'm not going to say their name, but there's a lot of athletes that left from the River Parish that went to LSU that, played football, but didn't leave with an education. Didn't leave with the things that they needed that the university says that they're going to give you when they sit on your couch and talk to your parents, right? So my daddy wasn't for LSU at all. 0%. So Nick Saban's in the house trying to convince him, hey, man,
Otherwise.
hey, man, the politics won't run my team. My dad like, what you talking about, man? This LSU, they have nothing to do with you.
Right.
This has been going on for years.
Yeah.
I'm from here. And Saban just kept, hey, man, that won't happen to me. No man is going to tell me how to run my program. My dad like, man must be crazy. He don't know Louisiana politics. It's one of a kind. Louisiana don't run his politics like nothing else. And Nick Saban assured him, sir, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. No man is going to tell me how to run my team. The politics won't tell me how to run my team. We're going to win. We're going to implement the process of how we go about coaching and how we go about developing our players. And my dad still wasn't sold on none of that, but I was sold on it. You know what I mean? He was telling me, man, at the time, Plaxico Burress was with him at Michigan State.
Yep.
So he like, these are the receivers that, this is where the game is going. I done already developed him. Him and Plaxico don't like me to say that because they bump head all the time. You know what I mean? And every rule that we got at LSU was because Plaxico didn't follow the rules at Michigan State. So him and Nick Saban bump head. So anyway, he was, at the time, he's sitting down with me, he said, hey, the average DB, and this is in 2000, is 5'8", 175, 180 pounds. The receivers was getting to be like David Boston, Plaxico Burress, and all this at the time. Braylon Edwards, guys that was 6'4" or better.
Yep.
He said, so we need DBs that can have great hips to be able to cover smaller receivers as well as this transition, changes the game, but also be big enough to stay in front of the big receivers. He said, you can do that because of the attributes that you talked about on the basketball court, having good hips, having, feet and things of that nature that I learned from a basketball training. So I believed in that. My daddy still wasn't sold on none of that, but he told me, man, if you follow whether it's receiver, athlete, I want you to be DB. It's day one. Man, you ain't got to never worry about working a day in your life. This will be your job. This is what he's saying at my dinner table, Magnolia High Street, before I even touch a football field. So that's when I knew, I'm like, oh, we must be, and it's still a process to get there as well because remember, I've never played defensive back.
Right.
I've never played cornerback.
But my question, and I asked Skylar this was before Nick Saban, the Nick Saban we know. This was, and he wasn't no world beater at Michigan State.
Not at all.
So my thing is, where did you get that intuition, that gut feeling when you listening to Nick talk and you're at your dinner table saying all these things? What made you believe in that vision, and how did he make that vision come to pass?
Car salesman, right? You have some good car salesmen, but you have some bad car salesmen, right? So you have some car salesmen that'll sell exactly what it is that you're trying to buy, right? But you have some car salesmen that'll sell you anything. They'll sell you a lemon, you know what I mean? But they'll dress it up and make it look real pretty. He was a guy of, a man of integrity. He was a man of character. He's speaking that, you know what I mean? You could feel that in the energy that he's bringing on everything that he's talking about. And he does have a history. You could go back and check his history as far as what he did at Michigan State. Did they get better? Did they improve? Do you want to go, like the gripe, even with Plex my dog, but the gripe with Plex was Plex just didn't want to follow rules.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
so,
right.
You know what I mean? It's a bunch of that, you know what I mean? But so you have to, decipher through that to say, okay, is it, bad blood with him and Plex? Did he do Plex something wrong? You know what I mean? And I don't have that relationship with Plex, in 2000. That's a later relationship that
He played with the Giants.
But I'm just telling you, you have to decipher through that because a man is trying to sell you, integrity. He's trying to sell you, character. And, he had the reputation and the history to prove that I'm not a guy that lie.
Right.
I'm a guy that comes here and I say what I'm going to do and I do what I say. I'm a man of my word. And that is very rare for a coach.
For real.
And also telling you that I'm going to help develop you into this. I don't just want you to come here and get it. I'm going to throw it to you. Remember, I'm hands-on. I coach the DBs. So you think about that, you know what I mean? A lot of the other schools, certain people may be particular to their quarterback, but at a Nick Saban team, the quarterbacks are the cornerbacks.
Right.
Because he's working with the cornerbacks every day, all day.
Hands-on.
Hands-on. So he got to go to that meeting room with all his peers, his coaches. He want to make sure that the DBs, the cornerbacks, are at the best level. He don't want you talking about, man, I whipped you, so we whipped the DBs today.
Right.
Because that's on him.
Right.
So I had a man that was telling me, I'm going to be hands-on with you. I'm responsible for you. So your career is responsible. Your career will be in my hands. You know what I mean? I'm going to be hands-on with that. So that's why I picked football instead of basketball, because I didn't have a basketball coach that was saying those things. And I was trained for basketball, I'll be honest, because football just happened, coincidentally. Mm-hmm. But I trained for basketball. I had one of the best trainers in the world that nobody don't know about, Fess Irvin. Fess Irvin coming out of high school at the time, East Ascension. Mm-hmm. Number 1 and number 2 in the country, him and Sean Kemp.
Wow.
All right. Sean Kemp elected not to go to college, go straight pro. Mm-hmm. Fess decided to go to college. And he went to LSU and then ended up transferring to James Madison. But at that time, man, Fess Irvin was Chris Jackson before Chris Jackson. Like they say, Chris Jackson is Steph Curry.
Yeah. Before Steph Curry, yeah.
Fess Irvin is Chris Jackson before Chris Jackson. You know what I mean? And now you train. So I was blessed to be able to train with Fess. And that's where all the footwork came from that Nick Saban saw. And he could have translated that footwork to whatever, really and truly. But you could translate that footwork to football.
Did you have any other schools besides LSU that you kind of was high on that you could have possibly left the state for?
Yes, because I'm playing quarterback at the time. So I remember at the time, this is 2000, when I'm getting recruited, Nebraska is the team that's winning everything.
Yep.
So
Osborne.
So Nebraska, Coach Osborne and they recruited me to play quarterback there because I played another one for you. I played quarterback in the wing T offense.
That's what I played in.
All right. So a little further, my coach, Rick Gailey, brought the wing T offense to Louisiana. Before Rick Gailey, it wasn't no wing T offense in Louisiana. He brought it from Delaware. The reason why St. James wear the stripes on the helmet, most people, say that's because Michigan Wolverines. That is not. Delaware had that on the helmet way before Michigan Wolverines.
Fun fact.
So because St. James wear that, the Wolverine look, that came from Delaware. That's where the wing T was invented in Delaware. He came here and brought it to Bonneville first. Mm-hmm. He made another stop. Rest in peace to Rick Gailey. He passed away. He made another stop somewhere else before he came to St. James. So I remember doing the coaching clinic at St. James because he used to invite all the other schools that wanted to run the wing T over to our school. Now he had to pay for it, and we'd give him the base of the wing T. So because I ran the wing T and because I knew it like the back of my hand, Tommy Frazier was at Baylor.
Mm-hmm. He was?
Yeah.
Before Nebraska?
No. Coaching. He played. Tom Frazier first was the quarterback at Nebraska.
Right.
Now he's the quarterback coach. When they recruited me, you asked me what other schools I had recruited me.
Okay.
Now he's at Baylor.
I didn't know that.
Remember he had the blood clot?
Yep, sure did.
So now he's at Baylor as the quarterback coach. So he's recruiting me to go to Baylor. Baylor is not the Baylor of now. Baylor is the Baylor of, I don't want to lie, but that's when I want to say David Koresh, when they had the drinking the Kool-Aid, Google that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. At that what do they call that? A compound, what do they call them? I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot. But they call them, they call them, I don't want to mess that up, you know what I mean? Because that's a fact. But, those individuals end up killing themselves out there in Baylor. So I wasn't fond of Baylor, after I knew about that, right? Out there in Waco. And
they call it like the Civil War, like the deep, like they had a cult. Pretty much.
There you go.
They made it like he made a cult where he was just sleeping with all, like getting nothing but women, and he was taking them from their husband and just sleeping with them, and like
I don't remember that.
Come
Man,
on.
it's on Netflix. They got a Netflix documentary.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
the
So that was
Wake-
going on when you recruit me. I'm
Okay,
like,
right,
oh,
right. That's a lot to
hey,
overcome.
This is what Wake
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
All right. Another quarterback that played at is Gill. Gill was another quarterback that played at Nebraska before Tommy Frazier. I think his name was, I don't want to lie, I want to say it's Turner Gill, but he was the black quarterback that played before Frazier. So and he was at another school recruiting me to play quarterback as well. You know what I mean? Because they always trying to take that what Nebraska was doing at the time, because Nebraska was the powerhouse. They were winning national championships. I think in the 90s they kind of ran that era. So Crouch, if I'm not mistaken, they just won the Heisman.
Yeah.
I'm in the meeting room with him, and they're like, hey, man, you know, you did this at St. James. You could easily fall in and do this here, you know what I mean? And if you want to play basketball, you can play basketball here. So it was other schools that was on the table because I hadn't picked what sport I wanted to play or nothing like that. And that was, I would say that was the most serious schools. There had other schools that I committed to, actually. Southern Miss, because I thought Southern Miss would be easier for me to play basketball and football.
Was that around the time Pat Surtain was there?
No. Pat was a little before that. This is the time
Pat had graduated.
Yeah.
Okay.
The time when they had the good receivers. Pinkston, I want to say one of them.
Todd Pinkston?
Todd Pinkston.
That went to the Eagles.
And and they had another smaller guy that played, and they had Nix as the running back tight ends guy. But I just felt that Southern Miss was a good place where I can play both and it'd be a little relaxed. You know what I mean?
Not too much pressure.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The demands of both sports wasn't, you know, like it would be at a LSU or Nebraska. You know, Nebraska saying, you know, you come over here, I want you to be quarterback, and then we let you play point guard, kind of like a Curry situation at North Carolina at the time. You know what I mean? So,
Ronald Curry.
Yep. So, and then for just basketball, I remember Kyler Perry, if I'm not mistaken, had just left, or him and Marcus Cannon was at UMass.
Yeah.
So UMass would recruit me for basketball and stuff like that.
That's tough. That's
at that
tough.
time.
Yeah, that's tough, because they went to the Final Four.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we on the phone with him, but he didn't give me that Nick Saban. And I hate to say it, but you see today, he about a platoon. You know what I mean? He ain't developing nobody. I know everybody running over there to be one and done, but Tom Enzo, the Hurleys, those guys are developing players. He ain't developing nobody. I'm sorry. Show me a person that Kyler Perry has developed.
They be ready made when they get there.
You know what I mean? So that's why what he was talking just wasn't sitting well with myself and the family at the time, because like I told you, I had a basketball trainer, and you're not talking nothing about development. You're just gonna give me the ball, roll it out there. If it work, it work. If it don't work, it don't work. You know what I mean? So they had a few schools, other schools in LSU. LSU, like I said, wasn't on the radar because it wasn't going there because Jared Donato and the running back before me wasn't going there. So we told LSU no need to recruit us.
And then your freshman year, you get to LSU, you playing receiver. What went into that? How that conversation went with you and Coach Saban, where he got you to ultimately change the cornerback that was the best decision in your life?
Yeah, well,
one of the best decisions in your life.
Yeah, well, at that time, it was just being an athlete. So I was playing receiver, and I was getting a little shine at receiver, but I was still practicing as a cornerback as well.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was always running back and forth. You know.
Okay.
My day was full. You know what I mean? It's just that people didn't notice that early on because I came out the gate doing that. So yeah, I was still responsible to be over there with Jimbo Fisher, who's the offensive coordinator.
Right.
And I got to go over there with Muschamp, who's the defensive coordinator, and Nick Saban the whole day. So my day was, very intense. So, but I just kind of like it, man, because it was a challenge. And I played sports because I think the challenge and the competitive nature of it. Like I told you, we didn't get into it, thinking about going professional or even getting a scholarship for that matter. We just got into it because we was, doing some extracurricular activity and it was keeping us out of trouble. So it wasn't, I hadn't been on a defensive side, so that was a conversation, you know what I mean? When I learned like, oh yeah, you gonna be tackling instead of getting hit, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you ain't never tackled before, you know what I mean? Little league, that's different. I'm talking about grown men now.
SEC.
SEC, you ain't never tackled before, but once I got over like, hold on, I could be doing the hitting, and that's, to me, is a little safer than
getting hit.
I got hit my freshman year. I was a partial too. So even before that, you talking about getting qualified. So I didn't qualify fully my freshman year. And I had the core GPA, just not paying attention, just not understanding. Because at the time, you had to have a 17 ACT score, which I made a 17. You had to have whatever GPA that matched with the 17. But this year here, you had to have a 17, and the composite score for the 17 had to average to either 68 or 69. And whatever one had to average to, I was a point short with the composite score and didn't know. Right? So I didn't take it anymore. Once I made the 17, I had a 4 grade point, I just never took it. And then we tried to appeal it, but at the time, it didn't even matter because redshirting was a normal thing. It wasn't like, it wasn't like, I wasn't looking to play fresh out. I wasn't asking to play. So that whole year there, I was just going back and forth, like I said, playing receiver, playing DB, playing on scout team, being on the show team, making sure that the team was ready. And that's the year we go to the Peach Bowl. And I think we go like 8-5 as far as LSU. And, we starting to get some notoriety from there. Like, oh, this team might be serious. You know what I mean?
And then all the people y'all knew was going to be coming back.
So we got these young guys coming back that hadn't played. So they're going to be freshmen. And that was the first year where we recruited, and we had the #1 recruiting class with Michael Clayton, Marcus Spears, Andrew Whitworth, rest in peace, Marquise Hill. Ben Wilkerson. All those boys played in the Under Armour All-American game, and they all came to LSU. So that was the first #1 recruiting class. And that was built off of our back as far as being the recruiting class, but we had some guys ahead of us that was like, I guess the backbone of that as well, like Jarvis Green, Howard Green, Kendrick Allen. Like that was the foundation of the team. Like, because, it's always a gray area there when the coach leave and he leave a bunch of guys behind. It wasn't no transfer portal like that, you know what I mean? So guys wasn't just leaving. It either you had to get on board with what Saban was talking about and ride that out. Or lose a year trying to transfer. Or, I ain't gonna lie, I saw some of the seniors that football was over. And they still allowed them to have their scholarship to go to school and stuff like that. But their football career was over. So seeing that was like, oh, okay. It wasn't a whole lot of those guys because when you do that, that allows them to go get more scholarships. You know what I mean?
Right.
And utilize those athletic scholarships. And they made sure that those guys that wasn't on the team no more, those seniors, they graduate because they also give you a graduation percentage that you want for the team as well. So all those things was happening that first year right there. And like I said, it wasn't a no-brainer. You know what I mean? We like, okay, something special is brewing here. We don't know what it is, but we just seen how the bad apples had to show us, whoever got kicked off the team or whoever didn't fall in the line to how we wanted to work. And after that year there, we was like, okay, it's less of that riffraff around. So going into the second year was like, okay, you had a couple of distractions. And if you're a distraction on a Saban team, you're going to be quickly out of it. You know what I mean? You got to eliminate all distractions. So, and when I mean by distracting that, they come different sizes, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just, again, I paid attention, so I ain't going to use all the names just because the fans didn't ask me to call out these names. or like my old teacher used to always say, hey, just protect the innocent and the guilty. You had some guys out there that wouldn't give individuals calls. So what I'm saying, we call the offense or you call the defense. And you got a guy that's on the field that's supposed to echo that call out or give the cornerback or the safety, the linebacker a call. Or, so I could cover it all, if you're a quarterback, you get a call, you got to give the receiver the audible to check. We had guys that wouldn't do that. Because Purposely.
Wow.
Purposely. You called him Tyrone Mitchell, I called him Tucci, but he said, I ain't gonna say their name, you know what I mean? But some of these people are well known. But they wouldn't give because their friend wasn't on the field.
Yeah.
Because, there's a freshman out there now because Saban moving his people in, and now your senior friend ain't on the field. So now, you know what? I ain't gonna get that freshman a call. And we will sabotage this whole defense because your friend ain't out here.
Right.
Stuff like that was happening. You got to get rid of that. You know what I mean? And then, so once we got rid of those guys that it was hard to tell, you know what I mean? A distraction.
Yeah.
Doing stuff inside that you don't know. You like, man, look at that cornerback. What he doing? Look at the receiver. Why he ain't running the right? And you don't understand that, Buddy didn't give him the call.
That's stuff that the outsiders that's watching on TV don't know.
Yeah. Right. I don't want to be like that. The average fan or the average eye don't pick that up. You know what I mean? You wondering why that DB over there looking or why that receiver over there, and it's the worst feeling, you watching film study, you don't want to be on film looking like this. Because that shows you don't know what you got, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you got on that as far as alignment and assignment. So once we got rid of all that and everybody was responsible and accountable for themselves, we knew we had something special that second, third year.
Man, I want to talk about that coaching staff, man.
Yeah.
Especially on the defensive side. You know, I'm an LSU guy through and through. So when you talk about like Nick Saban, he the GOAT. We get that. You know, when you talk about on the offensive side, you got Jimbo Fisher and his crew. But then you know, the only notable guy that I'm drawing blank right now is Derek Dooley.
Okay.
That comes to line with the offensive side. When you go to the defense side, you got a Kyle Saban. You got Muschamp. You got Bo Pelini. You got Kirby Smart. You got Mike D'Antoni. You got Carl Dunbar, who don't get enough credit for what he does. But look at where he's at now. He's been with the Steelers since Jesus pushed the stone back.
Yes.
You know, you talking about all these guys, and Carl Dunbar is the only guy that hadn't been a head coach, and it's simply because not because he's not qualified. He didn't want it. He wants to put hands on defensive linemen and say, "This is what we do." You know. That has to change a whole mentality too. Because when you walk over there, you look at like, man, that's Marquise Hill, it's Marcus Spear, that's Jarvis and Howard Green. All right. Then you look in the back end like, Jesus. And you know, and then you're like, man, who getting these guys ready? How much the attention to detail that they brought to that side jumpstart the ship. Cause like I said, I'm an LSU guy through and through. I know Gennaro was saying Herb Tyler go left, Herb Tyler go right. And we got Josh Reed right now. Just give it to him. Get the ball to Cecil Collins, Rondell Mealy, Trev Falk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, it goes on, but like, it was no detail. It was just Louisiana guys being Louisiana guys on a football field. Yeah. You put Louisiana guys in discipline and detail on a football field, you got a national championship.
Yeah. Just like the players was responsible and accountable to evolve and change, that same pressure was put on the coaches and the coaching staff. Saban is a leader amongst men, right? So he's the trainers, the videographers. Everybody's held to the same standard. Everybody's going to evolve and get better. So Stephen Coley was the quarterback coach. And he went on to be a head coach and offensive coordinator for the Miami Hurricanes and Florida State. He was on the offensive side. Mike Haywood was the running back coach at the time. Coach at Notre Dame, coached at Texas, Cedric Benson and all those boys. Just giving some more. Stan Hickson was the receiver coach at the time. Went to the Washington Redskins and went professional after his stint with the LSU. Gosh, he got in trouble this year, Michigan State. Both of those boys. Tucker was out.
Mel Tucker
Mel
was
Tucker
on
was
the
on the
staff.
staff.
Yeah,
Mel Tucker was the defensive back coach. Before Kirby Smart.
What he was like? What he was like, an analyst or?
No, he was.
You gotta think.
Kirby Smart young.
It was no analyst.
No.
So it wasn't.
It was no analyst. You had to be a straight on the field coach.
Mel Tucker was on the staff.
And
that's how he got. That's how he. I didn't be the coach. That's how he got to Bama.
No, that's how he got to Georgia.
No, that's how he got before he got to Georgia. He went to Bama.
He was at Bama before Georgia.
He was a coordinator.
Okay,
he was a coordinator. You got to think they went through a string. They went through a string. He got there, and then he left Saban and went with Kirby.
He sure did.
And then he got all the head coaching jobs. Yep. They are all from Saban's tree, which is under the Belichick tree.
Yep, which is under Belichick dad tree. All the Parcells tree. You know what I mean?
Just keep it rolling.
Yeah. Gosh, I can't think of the guy's name. It's Albert something. But even the guy that took over Mel Tucker job after he got into it with, he was at LSU with us too. It wasn't analysts at the time, but Saban always had those guys around. It was called like graduate assistants or graduate or something. And not that it was graduate assistants, because a lot of these guys had already graduated. Right. You know what I mean? But he had them in a role doing something. Maybe learning underneath the defensive coordinator. So Mel Tucker, I'm just giving you names that I'm trying to remember. Bo. Because now Bo is back at LSU right now. Bo, defensive line coach.
Oh, Bo Davis.
Bo Davis. Yeah. So Bo Davis and Dunbar role was kind of the same.
So Bo was on that staff too?
Yeah.
I didn't remember Bo. I didn't remember because when you walk into the room and you see Carl Dunbar, it's like Nobody else was this.
Right,
Nobody else is this.
So they wasn't at the same time. Once Carl Dunbar left to go to the Vikings, his first stint, because Dunbar wasn't the defensive line coach. He was the assistant strength and conditioning coach to Tommy Moffitt. But then he also helped with D-line.
Stole a position for a position.
You right? So he's still doing the weight room stuff, but when practice started, he's going to be over there with D-line.
Gotcha.
He's a former player, this, that, and the third, right? So he left and took the job, defensive line job, if I'm not mistaken, with Minnesota Vikings.
Because he had Pat Williams and Calvin Jones and all them.
Then Bo Davis come, former player from LSU, assistant strength and conditioning guy / D-line coach. So that's how Bo Davis coming. They're not there at the same time though, right? You got Pete Jenkins there, who's the guru of all defensive line coach. You know what I mean? I forgot because Pete Jenkins was responsible for recruiting me as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, now that everybody, attention to detail to the minute is a real thing. Like that's known in the building. It doesn't matter who around. Everybody have to operate like that. The little things matter. And if you understand that the little things matter, the big things are going to take care of themselves. So, and I say this too, I was just talking about somebody. We learn concepts, and I'm mad right now because basketball is only, maybe G knows, only a few people that teach concept in basketball. What I mean by concept, how they taught us in football, how they taught us in LSU with those guys, everything was concept learned. If I teach you the X receiver, then I have to teach you the Y receiver. Then I have to teach you the T. Then I have to teach you the running back. But if I teach you the concept of this play, you know what everybody does. So to me, I think concept is the best teaching, but you have to understand how to teach that way as well.
Right.
How to develop that way as well.
Right.
But I think it takes a lot of time to learn. But once you learn it, you know every position. You know why the inside receiver is doing what he's doing. You understand why you need to do what you're supposed to do and why it's important for every man to do their job correctly, because you doing your job correctly, whether you get the ball or not, that's going to be determined by the read of the quarterback. But based off of the scheme that the defense is running, we need you to do it correctly. You can't change it. Oh, the receiver jump in my spot. You can't do that. Stay in your, because concepts say if you run the short route, and the defensive guy take the short route, well, the deep route coming behind. So you just open up. You did your job. You know what I mean? Jarvis Green and them had that problem too, because everybody in the front just wanted to get up the field and rush. Well, Saban like, well, hold on. Concept. I need you to hold this gap. This play right here may not be the play that you get the sack on. And if you go back to the best defense that LSU ever had was that 03 championship, and I think like 8 guys had 3 or more sacks that year. That's unheard of, spreading that sack around and stuff like that, right? Marcus Spears, Marquise Hill, Chad Lavallee, Kyle Williams, Lionel Turner, Cameron Vaughn, Eric Alexander, LaRon Landry, Jack Hunt. They might have gave me a sack, but I ain't wanting none. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying. So I think same way I hear Gino talk, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about Gino Gamble. I don't want to mess up his name, butcher it, but the women's
for the UConn.
REM.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But he talked about concept and teaching that way in basketball. A lot of this stuff go hand in hand, man. So when I see good coaches, it's like a handful of them. You know what I mean? Maybe 2 handful of them. And I'm not just talking about in football. I'm talking about in all the sports. I'm talking about women's basketball, men's basketball, football, professional, college. Because you see the same people winning. You just talked about the umbrella. That's where this all started from. When I see Kirby Smart winning, well,
you won because Saban.
You know what I mean? You learn from him. You know, when I'm having this conversation, I'm able to talk football like this. I come from under that umbrella. You know what I mean? So my football smarts come from, legendary, iconic. You know what I mean? I'm gonna forget a lot of football that some of the people hadn't even learned.
Right.
Even when it goes to the basketball side, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Because there's only so much you can do with 5 people.
Right.
2-3, 3-2. Man, it's only so much. So the same way in football. So those guys all was true professionals. You know what I mean? As far as learning their craft, getting better at their craft. As you see, they started off as graduate assistants. And now you see them leading, breaking, records when it comes to $100 million deals as far as head coaches and on the sideline of these collegiate programs or professional programs. You know what I mean? So it was beautiful to be able to learn from those guys, but also appreciating the process while it was happening and being aware of that while it was happening. an awesome feeling when it comes to learning.
And I think
hold on, G. I ain't gonna let you just slip by and say you think the 03 defense was the best defense?
Name another one.
No, they ain't winning the national championship.
Okay, so you already start with disclaimers. How you gonna start with disclaimers? Go ahead.
Which one?
Let him go now. He just started.
No, they did win the national championship. 09. I think y'all like tit for tat.
09 had the better defense. 09 had Matt Flynn.
Yeah, but the defense. You had Pat, Morris Claiborne.
That's not the 09 team.
Who that is though?
No, Pat didn't win no national championship.
Go ahead, keep telling. Give me facts.
Yeah, Pat.
You're right.
Yeah.
You stuck that foot in it now. I want you to make the argument now.
I was gonna name the
Pat Peterson, Tyron Matthews, Ron Claiborne, Ron Brooks,
Craig Stelz.
how many losses?
It was coach who lost.
Taylor, Brandon Taylor.
Brandon Taylor. The D line was Sam Montgomery.
Sonic Sam,
Rockers.
There you go.
Mike.
No championship. No.
They had a lot of high draft picks on that team, though. I give you that.
That's why. Hey, how would I win it out?
They were like top 3 in the country.
No, we was number one.
Y'all was number 1?
We was number one. We was number one.
I think y'all ended number 1.
Well, when we played Oklahoma,
No.
Oklahoma had the number 1 ranked offense. We had the number 1 ranked defense
Y'all
at
had
the
the
time.
number 1 scoring ranked defense. I remember.
If a team don't score, what you gonna do?
I remember.
Team don't score, they can't win, huh?
That Oklahoma team, because that was Bob Suke, like, because he corrected them, like, no, they had the number 1 scoring defense. Teddy Lehman, Bernard Renner.
Oh, yeah, they was hyping them up.
Yeah,
Jason White,
Tommy Harris.
Michael Perkins.
Tommy Harris was a dog.
Yeah,
I give him that. I give him that.
The DB, Perkins, the best
Straight.
coverage.
Oh, you talking 26?
Perkins. His last name was Perkins.
Might be. I don't want to lie.
Perkins was his last name because
26 or 28 was his number though.
Yeah. 26.
Yeah. So
We good.
make sure he's staying correct. He's staying correct.
When I'm wrong.
Man, talk about your process, man. Going into that draft process, for the combine, and then ultimately getting your name called 43 overall by the New York Giants, which, Brandon Jacobs was on our podcast, man, a few months ago, and he said that's the best organization in all of sports. He said the way the owners and the front office take care of their players is not comparable to any other teams.
I would agree. I never played for nobody else. No pun intended to Brandon. He went over there to San Francisco to try to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I was like, nah, once a Giant, always a Giant, and I ain't never played for no other team. Once those 9 years was done, I'm like, nah. And I had opportunities to go. I'm like, nah, I can't do this no way else, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I go back on that word process because I also heard that y'all talked about the process and where they come from. You know what I mean? Sky started this. He called him the Wizard, but his name is Lionel. Liney, I forget his last name. Was a psychiatrist that Coach Saban became friends with at Michigan State, and that guy helped him with his coaching style, talking about the process. You know what I mean? That's the word that they use. And being able to teach kids, being able to get the best out of each individual player. Also having a knack to know what makes each individual player go. Like, I need to know what works for you, because the same thing may not work, you know what I mean? And I always give that to parents as well when you're dealing with your kids. What work for the first kid may not work for the second kid.
True story.
I mean, everybody's all individual. So I done kind of took the process, wrote my own version of it, you know what I mean, with a program, but, neither here or there. But that word process, they invented that in their coaching style and how to help Coach Saban, develop individuals, develop talent, and talents from different culture all over the world. So that guy did a great job because you got to understand, this is 2000. Mental health is not as it is right now.
For real.
We got people that can talk about mental health. That was looked at, especially in our culture, as a weakness.
Yep.
Right? You soft, you know what I mean? You can't go through that. So Simone Biles, the Olympics coming up right now, I tip my hat off her being able to, take our mental health. And being able like, oh, that's important. Let me go sit down. And I hope everything goes great because it looks like she's been doing a wonderful job since she's been back. So hopefully she does great. But that's a testament to mental health is very important, and he used that early on. That's a lot of guys that are coming from my world. That's my first time I'm ever sitting down with a psychiatrist. You know, at the time, the stigma or the stereotype was we don't go sit down and talk to nobody about our problems. You know what I mean? We don't do that. So that's in 2000. And I've been sitting down with psychiatrists and therapists ever since, you know what I mean? Because it's that important, not just for the growth of sports and the development of sports, but, you know, for, you know, young men, for young African-American men to let them know that that's cool to do, you know what I mean? Understand to sit with your thoughts and to be able to organize your thoughts so you can get those feelings and those emotions out and you're not just suppressing it down and then we popping or bursting and doing something crazy while, you know, 1 in every 3 African-American men are incarcerated or in jail or passed away, you know what I mean? So that's important. So all that to me comes from that word process because, you know, you have to go sit down and understand how to deal with success. And not for, you know, because a lot of people thought, well, he's just running back and telling Coach Saban what I'm doing and stuff like that. You know, this conversation is supposed to be private. Yes, but you have to have respect for that individual to know that he's not going running back and tell him nothing that's going to hurt you.
Right.
All this is geared to help you, you know what I mean? So being able to break that whole stigma, man, that's a win in itself, you know what I mean? And so that helped me doing that, you know what I mean? So preparing for the draft, man, I think we was the first class to never go anywhere. We just asked Tommy Moffitt, who's now the strength and conditioning coach for
somebody just hired.
Yep. He just hired.
He gave us the key and was like, I'm like, man, hold up, man. Because I didn't know I was fast. I heard Scholar talking about speed and all that. He was running AAU. But I'm playing AAU basketball. I ain't got time to run AAU track. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I never knew I was fast. And, you know, we just, you know, we never, no disrespect to nobody at St. J. Nobody never clocked us.
Right.
We just played against people.
Right.
I remember we found out Chad Jasmine was fast because they had been telling us that playing against Bro Bridge, they had been telling us how fast Dominique Davis was. Oh, man, Dominique Davis running 4.3. Well, during the game, Chad took one around the side and left him. So we're like, man, Chad got to be fast.
Yeah.
That's how we found it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Dominique couldn't catch him. He running 4.3, so Chad got to be, man, 4.2 then.
Yeah.
That's how we did it. And I remember me and Chad messing around at practice, and I would run him down and call him like, oh, you got to be fast too. Like, no. But Jimbo Fisher word to me was, man, Corey just short-handed. He's a short-handed person. He catch everything that you throw around. He's short-handed. He got great hands. But he ain't that fast. He got short hands.
So Jimbo Fisher said that about you?
Yes. To me. Why'd you feel?
Right.
Like Corey, and not to belittle, we just didn't know. Like I'm saying, we're not going to these combines and they timing you up for your time. He's like, man, you got short hands and you never had to break nothing. Remember, I've been playing quarterback, so you break it. You know, you normally the quarterback running from the linemen first, maybe linebackers. The DB later on, they tired now, you know. So they never just said that you was fast when you broke nothing. So it wasn't until we was in practice and Joseph Adai broke a long run. And I was playing around on the backside. And again, I got to go to meet with Saban. So I'm like, oh, me and Michael Clay, we over there playing around. And we doing what we call the situation. It's called coming out. So that means the defense is on the goal line and the offense is coming out from the goal line. So I'm covering 99 yards behind me. That's, you know, situation.
Yeah.
And me and Michael Clayton over here to this side. And, you know, normally in situations like this, they may throw something quick, but normally the offense want to run the ball. And Joseph Adai broke one. And I'm, you know, we thinking, you know, we got all them dogs. We just said Chad Laverly, Marquise Hill, all that. We got all them dogs. So I'm just playing on the backside with Mike like we just taking the play off.
Right.
And Joe Adai break it in practice. And I'm scared because I don't want to get fussed at him, you know, that clicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that red.
So now I'm running scared, you know, that red button. I'm running scared.
Webster is over here dicking around.
That's exactly. You don't want that to say it. So I'm over there scared to death. And I see Joe Brick. I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus. So I got the pursue angle because you're supposed to always be tracking your pursue angle.
Right.
So I'm over there playing with Mike and Joe Brick. And I go down and I run him down. Joe die. So he said all that, but then he said, damn, we just found out you fast, right? We never knew.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's where the fast becoming. So I told my man, we ain't going to work out. You know, people was going to the IMGs, they was going to Arizona, they was going to all these different workout places. I'm like, this is what got us fast. This is what taught me Olympic lifts, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna stay here. And we got a guy from Brewley named Reggie Williams that was helping Randall Gay and them and other athletes. What's the girl name from Tennessee? Shamika Hoslaw?
Yeah.
Because he had Tamika Johnson, who went to Vanderbilt, went to LSU. They was playing for, I forgot what WNBA team. He was training them. We're like, man, you're going to trade us. So ended up doing that. Moffitt gave us a key. We used LSU indoor. We didn't trade nowhere else. Me, Spears, Travis Daniels, Got Marcus Randall is about, I won't lie, that little senior class, we all trained right here. Our agents thought we was crazy. Because, they normally pay somebody 10 grand, 12 grand to get you ready.
Nothing like this before.
Yeah, we like, nah, we ain't going nowhere. I'm staying here. And
So, hold up.
go ahead.
So when y'all decided to make that decision, in the back of your mind, you wasn't like, man, this could cost me a lot of money.
No, never thought that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Never thought that. I just figured, to me, it's a ripoff. Because I'm like, the stuff that we have done for 4 years with our school is what
should account for something.
Come on, you know what I mean?
I was first team All ACC 3 times.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
Why are we going off to these other facilities, giving them tens of thousands of dollars
that you got to pay back?
That you got to pay back, and all they're gonna do is dust you off. Maybe teach you a couple of techniques, how to get off on the start and stuff like that. They dust you off, and you still using. Because what really are you gonna change in
3 months?
3 months.
That's football wise.
You know what I mean? What really you gonna change? If you was fast when you finish that season,
you was fast now.
Now you may need to learn the techniques of running that drill
or how to run.
Yeah,
how to
10-yard split.
The shuttle, the L drill, the 40. You need to know your takeoff, how many steps you run the 40. But you are what you are. You're not gonna get too much stronger. You may just start training for 25 reps or whatever you want to train for, 25. But much is not going to change. So yeah, it was easy, and we blew it out the water. I ended up running I didn't run at the combine. I heard Skylar talk about that as well. I ran at our pro day.
Okay.
I just did all the interviewing and stuff like that. Another thing that they do for you, you have all those interview professionals that come in and teach you how to interview. The media.
And that's
training.
important.
That's very important. You know what I mean? So you have all that. What questions you may get, what the team may be looking for, how the team set up. Some teams have owner in there. If you go on the Cowboys, Jerry Jones going to be in there, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. If you project to go first round, second round, you may have the whole staff in there. You project to go later, it may be under the position coach and maybe the coordinator of their side or whatever like that. So you learn all that. When they ask you questions, how to answer the questions. When you get to the board and you have to draw a route, you learn all that and stuff like that. So I was prepared for all that. You know what I mean? We had to do that just in our meeting room with Saban. So they know that, you know what I mean? So that was an easy process for me, you know what I mean? I didn't run at the combine. I just interviewed, but then when I came back to LSU, I think I ran 4.3, I think it's 4.32, 4.34, and 4.40.
You ran 3 times?
Because they kept saying, they kept sending me back for like a roll. Oh, he rolling into it, which we don't, That's anything, you know what I mean?
So you're ready.
Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? And you got the trainers, they're like, man, don't run no more. But then you're like, oh, if you don't run, we ain't gonna be able to put a time down, you know what I mean? So the 4.32, they most don't run. So I'm like, man, we ain't tripping. That's what we've been working for. So 4.34. And some teams are, hey, we want to see you run again. And I'm gonna say this too. The reason why I ran, I got injured and I had the drop foot. So I couldn't move my foot up and down either. So I had questions going in about, that injury right there, right?
Okay.
Because it froze I think it's called the perennial nerve, if I'm not mistaken. It froze that. So it gave me a drop foot. And most people, it doesn't come back.
Man.
For me, they did some type of neurologist stuff. So they shock, put almost like acupuncture and put the needles in, then they shock it. So it helped the nerve grow back. So I was fine. It didn't fully come back until I was a year in with the Giants, but it still allowed me to be able to run those times and stuff. Actually, I changed foot. So whatever foot I normally start on, I just changed the left foot to push off.
Man, that's insane.
Real life.
This man said he changed foot.
Let me ask you this. Going from Vassary to Baton Rouge, not that big of a jump. Not that far off from your family, like for 50 minutes at best. Louisiana still Louisiana, no matter where you go. But then going from Baton Rouge to New York, big city, mentally, how do you prepare for that? Being away from your family, even though it's your job now, but just being away from your family in this big, crazy city that a little kid from Louisiana has probably never even dreamed of. Cause like you said, you didn't go into sports thinking like I gotta make it. You just went to get something out of it, to stay off the streets. And now it's like all this is paying into fruition, and Your reward is New York
New
City.
York, yeah. And I say this throughout my life, sports allowed me to travel. You know what I mean? So I had the privilege of being able to have great friends and great parents that we traveled and we saw things. You know what I mean? Especially with AAU, and I would have to give a lot of props to the Sweats, Mr. Gary, Miss Carolyn, my guy Ross, Coach Dino. Man, crazy. I was just with them last weekend.
Man, where is Ross?
Ross?
Boxhead.
Yeah, he I'm selling food.
Come on, man.
He's
I haven't seen Ross in years.
I was with Ross last weekend. We went fishing.
Okay, down there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We went there.
Okay.
We took my younger two boys hadn't been fishing, so we took them out there on the water, let them catch some red snappers. And Louisiana wrong because they put a limit on the red snappers. During the week, you can't catch none. And on the weekends, you only catch 4 per person.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm just on my
Yeah.
No more to have nothing to do with nothing right here, but that just happened, right?
Right. Fun fact.
You know what I mean? Fun fact, all right, yeah. Because the boys like, we catching the fish, we gotta throw them back. Yeah, we gotta throw them back. You know what I mean? So we end up catching a few, what we call some Mango Grove snappers, some nice size fish. You know what I mean? So we had a great time. But yeah, Ross doing great, man. Ross working in the family business. You know what I mean?
Of course.
They #1 shipbuilding company in the world. You know what I mean? We're not just talking about Louisiana, but they're the #1 shipbuilding company in the world. And now they also, I want to say, the #1 service of ships in the world. You know what I mean? So if it's going across the water, you know, the Sweats got something to do with it. You know what I mean? And they're not no bragging, boastful people.
At all. His dad don't even want to be on Forbes.
No, none of that. No. Because everything is private.
They don't want to be on Forbes. Forbes, they're trying to get him to do like the article, like the rank, the richest people in the world. He don't want to cooperate.
No.
That's right here in Louisiana, folks.
Right here. There's a bunch of Louisiana money like that, you know what I mean? And not just speak on money, I just like the mindset. So they gave me that mindset early on of what money looked like, you know what I mean? You know, we have athletes, we have entertainers now that I remember I had this conversation with Ross. And one particular athlete that we well known that was carrying cash just out the wazoo. And I'm like, and me and Ross going back and forth talking about it. And I'm like, man, that ain't funny. And not that he was trying to, you know, disrespect or nothing like that, because that is not it. You know, it's just good conversation that we always have.
Good dialogue.
Yeah. So he's like, man, tell me why. I'm like, because he can't read and write. And he playing that sport that he's playing, so he looked like me. So he tells all the perception, all people that look like me, that you ain't got to know how to read and write.
As long as you got this talent.
As long as you got this talent, just to worry about that talent. And I'm like, that ain't the perception that we need to know.
For
you know
real.
Like, dang, I never thought of it like that. Well, appreciate that. You know what I mean? And they gave me that mindset early on. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to put their business out because they're very private, like you said. You know, they're a private company. They don't have no. They're not on the S&P. They're not no IP company. They're a private company out of Louisiana that does major things right now. Which was my coach at the time, Dino. His name is on the boat. We could. I don't know how you do it. But anyway, Dino Sweats, the boat, is actually working the Titanic right now. It just started its excursion on the Titanic, being able to send the boat out there. They're going to send another portable camera system down there. I think the last time they did it was 2014 to take pictures of the Titanic direct and stuff like that. And they boat is working on that.
Wow.
So
don't have them build a submarine.
No. They laughed about that too. No. Our boat ain't going down there. You know what I mean? They sit in it's like a water drone down there.
Yeah.
That's maybe the size of a big engine, and it's gonna take like I forgot how many pictures, you know what I mean, millions of pictures to see the difference of the wreck from 2014 to now, you know what I mean? And then they'll figure out what they're gonna do with it, because they don't own the rights to it. There's another company that's using their boat. I think the company is out of Georgia that's using their boats to that owns the rights to the excursion. That's using their boats because they just know their boats have, you know, the technology that's needed to go out there. So Raw's doing great to answer that question. But just living and growing. And that's what gave me the mindset of, you know, how to, you know, understand money, you know what I mean? How to understand asset versus liability, right? And first we have to recognize that. I tell the kids, we have to recognize that in people, you know what I mean? Make sure that you are being an asset when you're around individuals, but also make sure that you are picking friends that are assets,
Mhm.
right? And if you understand that in picking people, then you understand that when it comes to your money and not getting these liabilities and things that don't matter and things that, depreciate and lose value. So I already had that mindset from early on. Like I said, I've been playing with the Sweats and being friends with Ross since I was 12 years old.
Right.
So,
That opened your mind up to a lot.
to new, man.
So when you got to New York, that just
that's nothing. That's just another stop on the thing. That's nothing. You know what I mean? We traveled, again, I'm gonna put a little bit of business out. Man, we travel privates out AU games. You know what I mean? We getting on the runway, walking up to the, you know what I mean?
the PG.
PJ, and we didn't think nothing of it. It's 12, 13, 14 years old, you know what I mean? So, but also how they're conducting themselves while we're doing it. They're not conducting themselves like fools.
Right.
He's not conducting himself like a fool, you know what I mean? His parents are, caravans, you know what I mean? We ain't got to have the limousines or nothing. We riding in caravans once the PJ land, you know what I mean? I know some people now, man, you get a caravan, they laugh at you.
Yep.
And these people got all the money in the world. The caravan is waiting on to pick up the AU team.
Yep.
2 caravans, that's it.
Yep.
But so just the mindset, you know what I mean, that they gave me. And they got a book when somebody started talking to me about it, it's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so somebody was like, you lived that life. And I didn't even know the book at the time, you know what I mean? So just being able to have them as when I got my contract, I want to sit down with Mr. Gary. When I got my second contract, I want to sit down with Mr. Gary. What I do with this? I never had this type of money before. Teach me.
So you didn't have a financial advisor that you kind of was.
Mr. Garrett.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what I mean.
Well, but I say this, Mr. Garrett put me in touch with J.P. Morgan. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
A lot of people can't get in touch with J.P. Morgan. You know,
Right.
J.P. Morgan wants you to have a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
J.P. Morgan owns Chase.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you got to have a certain amount of money to get with them or a relationship through somebody. So, not per se the financial advisors that these individuals have now. You know, they got financial advisors that just running behind athletes now.
Yep.
That maybe do illegal things early on. So I always tell the athlete, if he's willing to do something illegal early on, what you think he's gonna do once he got your money?
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to, it's just a little safer when you with a J.P. Morgan, a Morgan Keene, Charles Schwab, because they have insurance and they have other people that they have that's backing that money.
Yep.
And they have rights and stuff that they have to do, to stay within the guidelines of what they're doing for you. So it's a little conservative. That's the word Ross will use. You know what I mean? It's a conservative approach because it's sure you may have other individuals out there that can go make you more money, but they can also lose you a lot of money, or they also may get involved into a whole lot of personal stuff that, you can lose money to. But I just think that's the safe way. If you're a guy that's about to come into money, a draft pick or an entertainer that's getting the money, man, go sit down with one. They want to talk to you anyway. They want to teach this to you and your family anyway. It's about financial literacy. So going to the Giants, it was easy to me because I had those conversations. I had those people that can guide me in the right direction. At the time, my second contract, Mr. Gary was part owner of the Pelicans.
Yep, I remember that.
So it
that.
was easy conversation because I'm not looking at them like that. That's like second.
That's like
dad.
family.
That's family.
Yep.
It's no different. I'm still, we still jam to this day. You know what I mean? So I just think that exposure gave me, I'm not going to do nothing that is going to embarrass myself, my family, and also my extended family or my extended village. You know what I mean? Because it's a village that comes up, and raising me. It's not just me. It's not just my parents, even though I think I got the best parents in the world. It's not just my wife. You know what I mean? I'm doing it for that village and not per se that I'm entitled to that village. You know what I mean? Because that's a whole other, conversation we could have as far as survivor's remorse and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But that I want to make sure when you talk about Vash and you bring up Corey's name, it's all positive when the end of the day when things are said, it's about, oh man, that's a good kid, man. He learned this, or you did this, or you know what I mean. But it's all good stuff.
I think that's important, man. And me and my son and kids that I mentor talk about that all the time. How sports and treating people the right way and handling yourself the right way can help you form relationships for a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like you say, man, people in your life that bring value, and it might not be monetary. You know what I mean? It might not be monetary, but some type of value in your life, whether it's advice, whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's super important.
Also, G, to piggyback on what you just said, it's how you treat people. Because if he would have been like your typical hothead athlete, all that stuff,
arrogant.
Look at the doors he would have closed with Mr. Garrett.
Fact.
Man, I'm not dealing with you.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? But him being humble and taking the approach opened up a whole nother lane of possibilities that him as a young black athlete would have never gotten to.
I think that's the thing right there. What you just said, man, that's everything right there. You know what I mean? Because I was always taught to treat the person with the same respect that clean the building, that own the building.
Yep.
Right. And again, I'm on these circuits. I'm seeing what's going on the baseball diamond, in the in the basketball gyms, on the football field, and respect is a lost art.
Yep.
Right. And you would think that because people may have certain statue or things of that nature that they may want to respect you, and that has no idea. They don't care about you done played it, you done did it. Some people have no respect and they don't understand the doors that they close because of it. I talk about that all day. I'm like, man, you know that the same vision, and I don't wish this for kids, but the same vision that a coach can look at and be like, hey man, that kid's going places. If you don't change something, it's the same vision that somebody gonna say, man, that's gonna be detrimental to you because you're disrespectful, because you got bad body language, because you have a bad attitude, because you're not coachable. Those are the things that are gonna be your downfall. And they have kids right now and parents right now that think that that's cool for their kids to do certain things. It's cool for, again, I'm not gonna say name. A parent told me it's okay for my son to curse. I told him he could curse. I said, but I'm the coach. And he can't curse on the team that I'm coaching.
Right.
It's disrespectful. They have referees on the court. They don't want to hear that. And plus, your kid is underage.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What standard are you setting?
What standard are you setting as a parent? So now it gets difficult now because now I'm teaching you how to parent. You know what I mean? And, a lot of adults don't want to be taught.
Subject.
Yeah, you don't be taught how to parent. So then he can't be here or I can't be here. Somebody got to go because it's not going to end up bad or it's not going to end up good. You know what I mean? And for me, like I said, I don't want to do nothing. Like you said, close those doors to Mr. Gary. My sons are now, because of me being humble, because of me being raised in my village the right way, can go back there now and still get some of the access because of what we laid down early on, the foundation, right? Again, that's a 30-something year relationship that came from dribbling the basketball. Something I didn't even make a living doing.
Right.
So, again, y'all talked about that with Tucci. Hey man, he said, say that again. Look right there. So yeah, and you have to treat people the right way, man, because you never know how that comes back around for you. You know what I mean? You don't know who you just blow the doors off or just pass by, and they may need to help you or you, whatever the case may be, however that goes. So
when you was with the Giants, what went into the thought process? You didn't really do too many interviews. You didn't really do too many things in the media. What went into that decision, like, throughout your career?
Man, you own it. Because I was Marshawn Lynch before Marshawn Lynch, right? We just talked about being in that's the media capital of the world. So I didn't want to get caught up in all of the hype of everything. I'm still a Saban guy. So it's about winning for me. You know what I mean? We was able to win 2 Super Bowls. You know what I mean? That's big when it comes to football. That's a lot when it comes to football.
The Mecca.
You got Dan Marino ain't never won once. You feel me? So Saban always taught us to stand clear of the media. You know what I mean? He didn't show us that you got to be buddy-buddy with the media. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to, everything else is going to take care of itself. So what I mean by that is, he say, never believe how great they say you are. Never believe how bad they say you are. You always want to know that you're right somewhere in the middle, just working to be a better version of yourself.
Great perspective.
So we never watched SportsCenter. You know what I mean? We never read the paper to hear how good they say. It's another thing that I hear these coaches doing all the time. Every time I talk to a coach, I'm okay with the parents saying this, that, and the third. But I hear coaches saying, man, this team good, man. This team good. Wow. You just in your process. It's okay for them to be decent or whatever like that.
Be able to handle success.
You got to be able to handle success. Because as soon as you start telling people they go, well, I need to work then. If I'm that good, well, I need to work. What's going to motivate them to keep going? You know what I mean? So, again, my whole time, we ain't did nothing. I know you name off accolades. I didn't understand those accolades until I was done playing. You know what I mean? We never did nothing. So we working to get that. So being in New York, I say this. I had to take the Saban model to New York because that wasn't there. The attention to detail to a minute, that wasn't there. All you got to do is say yes, sir, to a coach, and things are going to go the right way. You can say yes, sir, and do exactly what the coach said, and that ball go over your head. You be like, what's going on, coach? I did exactly what you said.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, like you talked about earlier, the audience don't know that. The fans don't know that. They just see so-and-so getting beat. So I took that from Saban, man. We don't give the media nothing. We don't give nobody bulletin board material.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the less I can say, the straightforward I can be, I think the better for the team. Now we got, it's a little different now. I ain't gonna lie, but it's still a fine comb how you gotta navigate through it. Meaning, they have social media, so you can build a following. You can build a whole personality through doing that. But as you can see, it works for a lot.
It's a gift and a curse.
But it's a curse for a lot.
But see, it's a gift at the time, but then it's a curse when it don't go the way that the because this what
Bad days are coming.
Yeah.
And this is what I think about when I think about social media,
Like,
athletes getting on social media. I think of somebody like Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
When you're successful, when everything's going good and stuff, oh yeah. But as soon as you be you, and it don't fit with man. Hold on, we driving the car this way. Why you turn right? Nah, it's a problem, and it just don't be one person turn against you. It's like the whole world turn against you. Nah, look, I ain't got to look you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I can say what I want to say. You'll never find out who I am.
Twitter fingers,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? So, and I think that's the dangerous slope that, especially like the young athletes that I'm coaching now, they seeing all this other stuff like, yeah, I gotta get followers, I gotta get this and that. It's okay to be
I gotta
on your
get
feet.
better.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I like to hear.
You know what I'm saying?
Let
It's
it
okay
work.
to
Gotta get better, man.
I'm saying? It's
The
okay to
followers
be-
not gonna help you on Friday night.
And they gonna come if you get better.
Plus, they don't. They lack to understand it. But like you were saying earlier, you got these parents now that you really. It's hard. It's hard when you have to table. It's easy for me to table a kid expectation. Hey, look, facts is you 120 pounds and you coming in here flying with your shoulder trying to tackle somebody that's 200 pounds. You hadn't come to summer weights because you're doing all this travel stuff. I'm gonna put you at corner because that's safety for me. You got to be an alley filler. Now you get bigger, stronger as the season go along. We can talk about moving. I could table that for him, and he understand why I'm trying to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
The person that's supposed to be the key protector for you, your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Man, my son supposed to be A, B, C, D. Look, let me look, sir.
Yeah.
Sir. I could call as many
Preach it to the choir.
I could call all the family members I want that played professional. This is not going to be do you want him to go college or do you want him to be the hood star? I can make him the hood star.
Yeah.
I know plenty
Yeah.
of them. I'm from the hood.
Got a lot of them.
You know what I'm saying? I could, or do you want him to go?
Yeah.
Well, I want him to go. Well, let me do what I'm doing because what you're thinking, this is not Madden. All right? You can't just go creating and do all this stuff.
And that's why I go beyond sports. That's why when kids get into the real world, they hit a wall. Because when they hit adversity, when they hit them hard times, their parents don't allow them to go through it.
They chisel it out for them.
Yep.
There you go. Water ain't flowing right now.
Man, going through hard time has made me who I am today.
Preach.
All of us.
That's part of it, bro. And so that's a good point you made.
I said this too on this point right because you asked me the question I never answered. I wanted to control my narrative. To your question about the media, I wanted to control my narrative. I didn't want to put things out there where the media could. Again, we're in the media capital of the world.
Twist your words up.
Twist your words because everybody got a perspective and they're entitled to their perspective, right? So whatever I say, this person could take it and run with it. This person could take it and run with it. 10 different things, you know what I mean? So I want to be able to control my narrative. So that's why I'm doing stuff now, you know what I mean? This is probably the first long form video I've ever did outside of, just sitting down and being able to just ask questions and things of that nature. So that's awesome.
No, I appreciate that. Is it true that the Giants had the hardest one-to-lick test out of all the NFL teams?
They did. Again, I didn't see it like that at the time.
Yeah.
But after they changed it, after years, you know what I mean? Because certain people have, like certain organizations, they'll use the same test that, 4 or 5 organizations will use that, you know what I mean? And I didn't understand that until Pac-Man Jones said it.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, man, y'all ain't got a first-round pick. I ain't taking y'all test. And, for whatever it's worth, you know what I mean? If that age good for him, cool indeed. But, the rest is history. Anyway, but they do have a crazy, test because they want to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to invest this money into you. I'm about to give you this, that, and third amount of money. When I give this money to you, are you going to run off and go do X, Y, and Z?
Yep.
Or are you going to do the right things with it? You know what I mean? Because money don't change people. It just make them bigger of what they are. If you was a butthole broke, you're gonna be $1 million butthole. You know what I mean? That just is what it is. You know what I mean? If you drunk, when you had no money, when you get $1 million, you're gonna be an expensive drinker. You know what I mean? So money just, continue to, I guess, aid the vices that you already have, just make a bigger whatever you are at the time. You know what I'm saying?
When the draft was going on, and I know God lets everything happen for a reason, and going to the Giants probably was another great decision for your life. But how bad did you want Saban to draft you? The Dolphins, that was his first year with the Dolphins. How bad did you want him to draft you, dog?
Well, so at the time, the Dolphins had the number 2 pick.
Oh.
So talking all the way up to the draft, I'm still in contact with Saban, right? So his thing was he was trying to trade the number 2 pick.
Because who they ended up drafting?
Ronnie Brown.
Yeah.
So did.
Auburn.
So did.
So I'm on the phone with him the whole time, even leading up to he trying to, if I trade this pick, then I'm going to get you and with my first round pick, right? But I want to trade the pick because Washington Redskins had 2 first rounders.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up getting Jason Campbell out of Auburn
Mm-hmm.
and the cornerback out of Auburn.
Carlos Rogers.
Carlos Rogers. So Saban was like, I'm trying to trade that pick with them. If I get them, because he was thinking that they would jump on that pick to get a better quarterback at the number 2 position.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what was gearing to happen, you know what I mean? And I thought that would have been cool, but it wouldn't have panned out the right way.
Right.
He left.
That's what I'm saying.
So Travis Daniel, who was my running mate,
He ended up going.
there. Then Saban left on him after 2 years to go to Alabama. So, like you said, God and everything happened for the right reason. But I also say this, through that process, I understood that, hold up, man, just taking things for perspective. Normally, the team that has the worst season get rewarded with the highest pick.
Yep.
So I had the opportunity to leave as a junior. And I remember the cornerback, I want to say from South Carolina. I forgot his name.
No, Trufine went to Washington State.
Yeah.
What, South Carolina? Gilmore.
I think
Stephon Gilmore?
No, he's after. He's
after?
It's before me.
Um,
God, I forget his name. It's before me.
let's see.
So this is my junior year. And he ended up getting drafted by Atlanta Falcons in the first round. So that rounded out I think the 5 cornerbacks that went my junior year, that's meaning right after we won the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, again, I'm not thinking about going to the league. I remember me and Marcus Randall having a conversation for the national championship game. If I get an interception in this game, I'm going to the league. That was it. It had nothing to do with nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I ended up getting an interception in the game. But then I just elected not to go. You know what I mean? I just thought it was best for me to stay out. You know what I mean? I graduated. And the rest is history. But so that's what he was talking about with me. You're like, hey, man, you don't really want to go to them top picks now. So going through that junior year process when I was eligible for the draft, I'm like, why? Like, they go to the worst team. And then I saw what Eli Manning did when it came to him getting drafted as a quarterback. Hey, I don't want to go to the Chargers.
Right.
I'm like, why, man? We just want to get drafted. Why he don't want to go to the Chargers? But it's about development and who gonna put the right pieces in place for my kid to be successful. His daddy done did it. His older brother done did it. You know what I mean? So they understand that. So I'm paying attention to all that.
You're only good at your situation.
So I remember Saban, walking me through all that and teaching me about all that. Hey, man, the money gonna take care of itself if you with the right organization. So getting drafted, I was the Giants' first pick.
Yep.
They didn't
have a first round.
Yep. So I was the Giants' first pick, but I got treated as the first.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like I said, the rest is history is how the Giants go about developing. Because when I got there, it wasn't all peaches and cream with the defensive coordinator and all that we had going on. But Saban walked me through that whole process, understanding, hey, man, if you here, I'm taking. So Saban told me, I'm on the phone with Saban, draft. He like, oh, man, you about to go in, I'm going to do that. How? So he's letting me know the Giants are moving up because I think the Giants had the 40-something pick and then move up to the 40, or they had the 50 pick and then move up to the 40 to position themselves to get me early in the second round.
Let me ask you this, because one thing we love to do, especially when we have guests, for them just to give nuggets and stuff to the next generation that's coming up. We've been blessed on our platform to have a couple of kids that came on here that wasn't drafted yet, and then later on went to get drafted. And we had a couple of kids that we didn't have on here that we know are going to hit that process. Talk about the perspective change and like the business mindset you have to have, because when you're in college, you're dealing with your coach. and your professors. 9 times out of 10, you really don't have to see the AD or the assistant AD. You don't deal with the business aspect. When you go to the league, you're sitting down with the owners, the team presidents, the people that write the check for you. What's your mentality have to be with them? Because ultimately, like, you got to sell a coach and all that stuff. But if the owner loves you, you ain't going nowhere. Yeah. And then especially with somebody like the O'Hara family with the Giants, they're a staple. So how do you prepare yourself for that and also be able to not get overwhelmed when you walk into that situation?
I think now is a lot of information out there that you can educate yourself on as an athlete early on, right? I would also say a part of that process is what we talked about earlier, being attention to detail to the minute. A part of that process is not worrying or expecting a result, right? Another staple Saban always talked about, not being result-oriented. Be committed to the process. Be committed into the little dash, living it out and making sure that things are going right now. You know what I mean? In the present time. And another thing, we did a good job at LSU. Those ADs was on our plane with us when we was traveling. So those away games was business trips. We dressed up. I don't think we had to have a tie on because Saban didn't like to wear a tie. We used to wear a mock collar, but we had a sports coat on. We had slacks on. So understanding how to travel that way, understanding how to greet those individuals when they're on the plane with us, how to conduct yourself on this flight wherever we go on. We took a trip to Arizona. That's a little ways than going to Ole Miss and a short Southeastern Conference game. You go to Arizona, you're on a plane together for 3 hours or so. You know what I mean? So having to conduct yourself with the presidents on the plane, having to and be you. Like, it's okay to be yourself, but you should still be evolving. Yourself shouldn't be, because I'm disrespectful, so I could be disrespectful to everybody. No. You have to understand that it's the right way and the wrong way to do things. And as you grow and you evolve into a young man, you know what's right and what's wrong.
You do.
Understanding that I remember a challenging moment for all. Saban used to make us do the grace at the team dinners. So kids used to be running like, some may not have had that opportunity to do that with families, right? This may be the first time that they're leading a grace, right? So certain individuals had to get their prayer right. And that was a moment that, right before we go into whatever hotel ballroom we're about to go into, they had to get ready to say this grace in front of the whole team and some of those individuals that's there. Understanding how to use what placemat, right? Which fork is my fork? What glass is my glass? You know what I mean? This is a pregame meal, but this is a business trip. So all this is being conducted along the way. Some people miss those signs. Some people miss those little things, and you're not paying attention to them. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, we just eating. No. This is a business meeting. You got your suit on still. So he's teaching you those things. And organization is not that. But I would say to a family or to a kid or to a parent that want that for their kid, man, you could teach them at home these things. You know what I mean? They call it manners. You know what I mean? You can set the table. You can make him set the table.
Right.
You can take him to, restaurants that if he, reward good behavior, he do whatever he does on his, report card. And we're going to take you out to one of these restaurants and you get to see how, a hostess seats you at your table, how you conduct yourself at the restaurant.
Proper way.
The proper ways and things like that. So these are these business dinners that you're talking about. The Mara family, the Tisch family for the Giants, it was nothing. Again, I just told you, my family is the Sweats. So, being with the Sweats, I remember Mr. Gary, rest in peace, Mr. Buss, who owned the Lakers. I remember coming down here to a game and he's here. And Mr. Gary, like, hey, this is my other son. He got Super Bowl rings. I know y'all got rings. I know we ain't won nothing here yet with the Pelicans, which was the Hornets at the time. But look, my son got rings and introducing me to, the Buss family and stuff like that. And we ended up taking the sons and stuff to South Peter Street to hang out and stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff, just being yourself and, understanding how to be a good person at home. I have manners. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, thank you. The simple things, the little things, that's the attention to detail. If you take care of those things.
Good morning, good evening.
Great. Hey, look, let me tell you what I did to the Giants. You said that. At that point, I'm on a different mindset. I'm like, nah, it's time to level up. We did what we did at LSU. I never say good morning. I always say great morning. That little switch, you know what I mean? We ain't just trying to be good no more. We're here at the Giants. Great morning, great evening. Everything is great. Whatever the word good would be, I would replace that with great.
Like that.
So that did that to that. The whole facility started doing that. Or whenever they see me come around, and I got that from rest in peace. If y'all go back and watch the 03 game, it was JB, Jeff Boss. And he was our equipment manager at LSU. And he passed away. He had a tumor. He passed away. We dedicated the 2003 season to him. And every time you go into the equipment room, he would always say, when you say, great day, how you doing? He would say, good day, how you doing? And it'd be super good and getting better. And he said, when you tell it to somebody, whatever they're going through, they got to check themselves. Man, this man doing super good. I got to do better.
Right.
So I took that motto and just took the good out of it, said super great and getting better. And I would give that to them, you know what I mean? Use little things like that to level yourself up. It may sound small, but it's, colossal in the long scheme of things.
I like that. I like that. Man, talk about your infatuation with cars. I know you started a couple car businesses and stuff like that, and I know your first car was a Chevy S10 with the extended cab.
Yeah.
You had a pink stripe off, and then you took it off and things like that, man. But talk about that. Where that love for cars come from, and how you got into the car business.
Yep, just growing up in the country, just growing up in Vassar, St. James, seeing guys fix on their cars. At the time, the lowrider trucks was a thing. In our era. So just seeing, and then the older group used to have hot rods as far as, muscle cars and take the car down, to the racetrack and things like that. So just seeing how those guys were fixing up those cars. It started with bicycles for me, fixing up on bikes and, just taking it from one stage to the next and being able to be like, okay, I can really do this. I can fix on it. So just doing the same thing with vehicles. Before vehicles, it started to be ATVs. We took the four-wheelers, the dirt bikes. My kids still bother me about them now. And we did the same thing to those. So that's kind of how the evolution of cars, it didn't being able to get into car customization. Had unique rides out in
New Jersey.
Yep. And then we had signature rides out here in Baton Rouge. Signature ride is still going. That's Chris. Chris is still doing a great job. And then getting into the car side of things as far as selling them with DC.
My dude.
Corn, yes.
My dude.
Sharpshooter, you know what I mean? Getting involved with him and, selling cars. He did 10 or so years in the car dealership around Louisiana. So we just branched off and, just trying to diversify, you know what I mean? Figure out other ways to make opportunities, not only for ourselves, but for other families and try to, grow as in one. So that's kind of the whole infatuation with cars came from. But I always tried to pivot because I don't want the kids to feel like, because I had the customization, they're like, hold on, you telling people don't put rims on their car because guys are spending X, Y, and Z, but you got the customization shop. So I'm like, I need to get out of that. You know what I mean? So that's how, it kind of evolved. You can't tell them not to spend their money on these things if they come to you spending the money on those things. So that's kind of how I got out of just evolution and evolving as an individual, but always wanted to give back to, guys that look like me and maybe came from some of the same that I came from, being the student athletes and stuff like that.
No doubt. I always like to ask questions like this, man. You've been knowing your wife since you was like 5 years old?
Forever, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. She used to come to your T-ball games?
All that. T-ball games, the little league homecoming, all y'all have. She walked with me for home, all that,
Yeah. Man, kind of talk about it and elaborate on what's the keys to having a sustainable relationship for so long, especially when you're a professional athlete?
You know what they say about things that, if it's meant to be, it truly is to be. You have to let it, grow and evolve. You know what I mean? I'm always working to be a better individual and vice versa. She's always working to be a better individual so we can be better together, right? And more importantly, making sure that you aligning with God, you know what I mean? Because all these principles are built off of the, holy matrimony underneath his govern, you know what I mean? So I can't be right for her if I'm not right with him. So he comes first. So if I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to underneath him, well, then she ain't got nothing to worry about when it comes to that. So putting that in perspective, you know what I mean? When you really put it like that, it's simple. You know what I mean? If I'm lying and scheming to God, well, then she don't stand a chance to get in line and scheme to, you know what I mean? So, he sees all and hear all. He's everywhere. You making, deviate and do different things around a human being. But if you living right when it comes to Christ and living underneath those 10 commandments and, treating other people like you want to be treated and stuff like that, and really doing that to attention to detail, to the minute, then everything else come after that. You know what I mean? So that's how I did, man. I was able to grow. She allowed me to grow as an individual, as well as I had to allow her to grow. And we work every day not to be the same person. So it doesn't get old. People say, oh, you've been with her for this, I don't get old. No, it doesn't, because I'm not the same person I was yesterday. Because I'm trying to be a better version of myself each and every day and each and every opportunity. So that's how we able to keep it fresh. And we having a great time doing it, learning, building a family, and passing those same traits and stuff down to our boys.
I want to jump on that question too, because one thing that I like to do when we do ask those questions is, because I have a special needs kid, and it changed my whole, like, before that I was an engineer and all that stuff, so I just, like, it changed everything for me. And the one thing that I didn't know how to do, I just thank God that he allowed my wife to just, like, hey, calm your butt down and help me navigate it. We didn't know how to handle conflict. And it wasn't conflict with each other, it was conflict at a situation. And it turn until we was attacking each other instead of attacking the situation. How did the Websters handle that conflict, especially being young black, especially with not it might not always, because like our parents didn't let us see fight. In our generation growing up, if you saw your parents fight, they not together no more. You know what I'm saying? That it's just the fact of the matter, especially growing up in our culture, in our community. So what's some tips and trades, especially how long you and your wife been together, and then
it's a blessing, bro.
One of y'all then came, one side, whether it was hit, it just for this scenario it was you, but one of y'all to come into a big sum of money and stuff. Now it's like, so how the conflicts?
Yeah. Again, we talked about you got to have conflict resolution, right? And how you go about doing that. A lot of therapy, therapy teaches you different techniques and stuff to be able to use in that. But when it comes to money, and getting into something like that, that should never be used against one another, right? It's not that, I got this amount of money, I can do whatever I want, or you're not the breadwinner, so you can't do whatever you want. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
We in this together. You know what I mean? We won. You know what I mean? Under God again. When we applying to those principles and we, be detailed when it comes to that, that's easy when they say it like that. So working through whatever the feeling is, whatever the situation is, we all gonna go through things. So how do we help each other grow and hit a breakthrough through the things that we're going through? So I had different situations where I'm being reinserted back into the home because I'm playing 9 years, right? And in playing 9 years, we
sacrifice.
Yeah, a lot of sacrifice. So for both. So she's at home making sure that the kids are where they need to be, how it needs to be done, educating them, making sure that, everything is going the way it's supposed to be going. So now I'm being reinserted back into the home after 9 years because I want to be great, like we talked about. So I'm doing 14 hours, 16 hours with the Giants. I got to sleep sometime. It's a day, you know what I mean? So how much time are you really putting in with the family, right?
Yep.
So all those things had to be talked about. You know what I mean? All right, Corey, you coming back home. You can't just expect things to go like you expect them to go because I already got this system in place already. So you got to respect this system. You know what I mean? Even when it comes to just short times, I'm going to be home while I was still playing. The kids may be on a curfew. They go to bed at 8 o'clock. But now daddy home.
Right.
We won't stay up there 10, 12 and just do whatever we want. Yeah. But I got to be respectful to the decision that's being made prior to me. And she may bend some of those rules because she know what's going on the other side of it. But I'm just saying those things needs to be talked about. And
compromise.
And when you talk about them and communicate through those things, because that's the biggest word, communication. If you communicate well and you don't take things personally, anything can be accomplished. So me and her communicate great, you know what I mean? We have to be best friends, you know what I mean? It's not a whole lot of, I got friends, I have associates and things of that nature, but we got to be on the same page at all time. She could finish my sentence, I could finish her sentence, you know what I mean? And that's not just a cliche thing, that because we're working to be on the same wavelength when it comes to raising our family and rearing our generation that comes behind us. So working on communication is the number one most important thing when it comes to those conflict resolutions. And that's with, your kids or with other extended family members, because you may see it one way, she may see it another way. But at the end of the day, what are we trying to, what's the solution? How do we get to that solution? What can you do to help us get to that solution? What can I bring to the table, being an asset, to help us with that solution? And we talk through those things. And again, having techniques, I would say they got life coaches out there. My wife is actually a certified life coach. So to help with relationships and stuff like that, but they also have, when the life coach, needs a little help, they go to therapy and things of that nature. So I think that's important.
For real. The last thing we're going to ask you, man, before we get into Sewell's favorites,
Okay.
NFC Championship.
Okay.
Third coolest game ever. Lambeau Field. The game-winning interception. I know you heard it 1,000 times, man. That sent Brett Favre into retirement. Last game as a Packer. I thought that was a special game. I remember watching that game, bro. If I'm not mistaken, we had 4 people playing in that game from Louisiana, right? Tremont Williams.
Yep.
You, Brandon Jacobs, Eli Manning.
Yep.
That was it? It was just them 4 from Louisiana?
You got me, man. I'm going to have to go with that.
I think it was them 4, yeah. And the 3 of them, I remember watching.
I don't know if Tremont was there. Tremont was there the second year.
Tremont was there.
Yeah, he was there.
Tremont was there.
He was there.
Not the first year.
Mm-hmm.
He was there.
How old Tremont is?
Tremont graduated a year before me.
Yeah, he not there.
He there.
No, he's there the second time we played the Packers. We won the second Super Bowl. This is when Charles Woodson and McKenzie.
I think you're right.
McKenzie or L. Harris was playing cornerback at the time.
You're right. Yeah,
with Favre. You talk about Favre, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Help me out now.
I think you might be right.
McKenzie was with Favre. Al Harris is with the Charles Woodson, because we know McKenzie with Leroy Butler and all of them.
But Brandon Jacob ran over Charles Woodson and that's when we were like, okay, yeah. It's, Charles was kind of out of it. So he's there the second time we go to the NFC Championship game and play Green Bay, and now it's
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, there you go.
Yeah.
My fault. Just
right. Fun fact.
Yeah.
But I just remember watching the game, bro, and just thinking to myself, man, like that's somebody I remember watching growing up. With the game-winning interception, to send his team to the Super Bowl, man. Take me back to that moment, man. I know you've been asked this 1,000 times, but how did that moment make you feel at the time, and especially on a stage like that?
Yeah, it was kind of, that game was kind of almost a instant picture of that season for me, because early in that season, I want to say this is my second or third year with the Giants, and I was starting early on, and they pulled me out the starting lineup for a bulk of the game. So I only came back in the starting lineup in the playoffs. I only started playing
against the Bucks.
Starting. But 2 games before that, I started playing again on defense against Buffalo when we needed to win that game in order to get to the playoff. And I ended up getting an interception and taking it to the crib in the Buffalo game.
Yep.
That was a very cold game as well. Crazy. And then we played New England Patriots. I was second time that year. They beat us, like, I forgot. That's when they broke all the records. Yeah. 55 touchdowns. Randy Moss had 22 touchdowns, certain amount of yards.
They won on the last drive of the game.
Yeah. Yep, busted coverage. I remember maybe 38-35 they won. That's when we knew, we see them again because we was in the playoff already. We gonna get them. So then I started, after that week there, it was like, because the Buffalo game, I was playing like nickel. I was coming there as the cornerback, but I was only playing the nickel situation. Same thing that was happening for the New England game. And I remember at halftime, Coach Spagnuolo, who is the defensive coordinator right now for
Kansas City
Chiefs, he was like, "You on Randy Moss?" I'm like, "Hold up, no, wait up. Wait up." Before this game, I wasn't even good enough to be playing.
Right.
Now I'm good enough to play against arguably the best receiver.
Right.
And he just broke every record. Now you want me to go out there and play him one?
With Tom Brady?
Somebody got to talk to me, you know what I mean? So with Tom Brady is one of the, so from that half, nothing happened. You know what I mean? When we was playing man-to-man on Moss, right? So they were like, okay, we saw some success at that, you know what I mean? Now, communication and busted coverage, that's the way they ended up winning the game, 38-35. So going back to that Green Bay game, I gave up a touchdown to Donald Driver early in that game. So I'm looking for redemption the whole time now. I'm looking for redemption, like, man, because It's cold out there. Is the frozen tundra is noisy, and the way we it was almost like a busted coverage. I go to jam him, and I jam him up at the line, but then I think it's a run play, so I just throw him to go find the run, and it's a pass play. He threw it to him, touchdown, maybe an 80-yarder or so. That's early in the game. 90-yarder. He asked, we asked for no fact. Fun fact.
Fun fact. Real fact.
We gotta watch who we let in when we got these interviews going on. 90-yarder, stand corrected. Right? So the whole game now, and then I had a great game. That was the only play I gave up. I had a couple of tackle for losses, third down, on Ryan Grant, running screen plays. And then so now we back overtime. My guy, Nasty Nine, Times, he had just missed a kick early on, so he's looking for redemption as well. And I'm like, man, Donald Driver and Favre, this has been a thing since I've been watching them. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, he got to come to him right now, right? I forgot what had happened. I think it's third down, too. They hadn't moved the ball much. This is third down in overtime. So I'm like, he got to come to Driver. And I've been seeing the routes that they've been running, you know. So this kind of happened throughout the game. All right, they got to run this little out route. So I'm going to give him up this out route, make him feel that way, and then I'm going to undercut it. So I didn't use the best technique at the top of the route, but I was still quicker and fast enough basketball to get my hips around to get underneath that route. And, man, it took like forever for that ball to get from Brent Favre to my hands, you know what I mean? And it was just, at the time, don't drop it, because now it's like catching a brick. You know, the ball is so cold, your hands are so cold, the blood is frozen in your fingers. So was able to make the play, but ultimately it just helped the team get to the Super Bowl, the next level. And again, you're gonna be always remembered. That could be a good trivia question, like who caught Brent Favre's last pass as a Packer?
Right.
And my name got to come up in there. So that's pretty
I bet
unique.
your phone was going crazy after that game.
Pretty unique, because everybody's watching. The world is watching. There's only one game on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? NFC Championship, and at the time, NFC East was a big division to be in, you know what I mean? So Brent Favre is he got a lot of trouble going on now that you got to get figured out. But at the time, you know what I mean? Well, his name still is a household name. Even with the trouble that he's getting into. So to connect your name to that, it was going crazy.
No doubt, no doubt.
The last question I have for you, for the young DBs out there, what's some things that you see when watching the game on any level that you just feel like it's just being missed for that position?
I don't see nobody developing young DBs no more. We just throwing them out there off of pure athletic ability, because the kid may be fast. He may have the attributes of quick twitch muscles, but I don't see nobody that's really refining those DB skills that these guys have. They're just putting them out there, letting them play. So when I'm watching a young DB, I'm seeing them making a whole lot of mistakes at the line of scrimmage, which is probably leading up to, the offensive scoring more points now, which, the game loves. I mean, the game loves for, Jordan Jefferson to run around, catch passes, because that's what sell tickets and things of that nature. But I just don't see, I guess a lot of DBs or DB coaches, spending the time that they need into developing their DB to be what they need to be, and help them be successful on Saturdays, or even, for that matter, even on Sundays right now. You know what I mean? I don't see that going on. So for a DB, man, you have to find ways. You have to watch film. Man, I watch film in the offseason. Offseason, I watch every receiver that's in the NFL. If I'm talking about NFL, if I'm in college, I watch all the receivers that I'm going to play against, or maybe some of the top ones in college. If I'm in college, I'm watching some of the DBs that, maybe play on the teams that we're going to play against, but I'm also watching the top DBs from college. Same way in the NFL. I'm trying to see what they're doing, what they have going on. And, film study and being a student of the game will take you a long way.
No doubt, no doubt. Now it's time to get into Sewell's favorites, man. Here we go. Favorite football player of all time, no matter what level.
Oh, football player. I was, I'm more of a basketball guy, so I don't really have a football player. I got I like, and I don't compare either. So I like a whole heap of those guys that I just kind of pat my game behind. Deion Sanders, obviously. Darryl Green, Terrell Buckley played at Florida State. Guys that came before me, I always want to pay them respect, but I wasn't really a football guy like that. You know what I mean? I respect the Herb Tyler's. I can remember walking in Cartana Mall and Herb giving me some time of day as a little young jit, you know what I mean? Those are the guys that I have to say.
Favorite hooper all time, no matter what level.
MJ, by far, I wore 23 because of that, you know what I mean? Michael Jordan. And Kobe, I like all that too. I don't like to compare. I don't like to put one over the other.
Right.
And I love what LeBron is doing right now as far as when it comes to being a family man, being able to have somebody that have the expectation that he have, and to be able to navigate it through without having any scandals. I've been with my girl, high school sweetheart. He with his girl, high school sweetheart. So I respect all that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Favorite sneaker all time?
His favorite didn't really turn for, because I'm giving 3 answers every time. Clearly, coming up, I was a Jordan guy. I never played in Jordans, but I was a Jordan guy always coming up. My parents always rewarded good behavior. You made good grades. You did the right thing. You could have any pair of Jordans you want. So shout out to Mr. Duck Brown, who used to be with Legends at the time in Downsonville. He made sure I had all the Jordans from.
Come on, man.
Early too, 2-3 weeks before they came out. So he had me sharp.
Everybody at FanView was like,
oh yeah,
T-Webb got that
problem. It was a problem, yes. So early on, I'm talking about since when the first pack came out, maybe what it was? 80 something. Come on, you supposed to know that. My fault. Over there knew that 90-yarder. Anyway,
right.
Anyway, Jordans have to be my favorite when it comes to that.
Favorite movie all time?
Movie. Man, I watch so much film. Man, I just got into watching movies and stuff right now. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a Saban guy, so I watch, the play 100 times. You know what I mean? So have to be Life with Bernie Mac and all those guys like that, man. Funny. Yeah, we go.
I might have it one.
Okay. Favorite comedian all time?
Comedian. Okay. Again, comedians are kind of like the basketball. You know what I mean? I don't want to just pick one, but I would have to do Richard Pryor, Red Fox.
Red Fox, good one.
And then the Bernie Mac, Cat Williams of the world right now. Eddie Murphy's. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Favorite place to visit?
Any place with water.
Louisiana.
Well,
Galliano.
I was just in Galliano last week, so I had a great time in Galliano. But
Golden medals.
Yeah, what it is over at Venice, but no, Bell Chase, no. But you know what? Dominican Republic, any place with water. Turks and Caicos. I done been to Lagos, Nigeria, so I done been over there in Africa, so I love that too as well. Just being able to learn and educate ourselves on, where we come from and, how different cultures are living. So anyway, where I can just pick up some more culture.
Favorite car of all time?
Oh, man, that's a good one.
Yeah, Corvette. Period.
Any kind of Corvette?
I ain't gonna say any kind. I like the first ZR1. That's a 2009 ZR1 Corvette.
So you a Chevy guy.
Chevy guy, American Muscle.
Man, his first car was a Chevy S10, man, with the extended cab.
Hey, money might change.
Had one like
money might change. He might go from driving the Chevy to driving the Nylon.
Yeah.
Forget about the cross.
Toughest receiver you ever went against. Like, when you went home, you was like, bro, dude, tough. No matter what level.
I would say our toughest receivers was at LSU. And that would be Michael Clayton, Josh Reed, Skylar Green, Benny Brazil, Xavier Carter, Craig Buster Davis, Dwayne Bowe, Junior Joseph, all those guys right there.
Some names.
Camp Hill.
Henry Tyler.
Yeah, you know what I mean? All those guys at LSU, that got me ready because, you got different sides, Skylar Shifty. That gets you ready for the Santana Mosses, the Steve Smiths of the world. Michael Clayton Bigger get you ready for the Terrell Owens, the Randy Moss, David Bosses of the world. So everybody at LSU, man, that I came across, those guys was legit. And then you talk about speed. Xavier Carter, one of the fastest ever.
Man, Benny Brazil, yes.
Oh, Derrick Henderson.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to be fast, just line up in front of you. I got to get faster.
Yeah.
You send Skylar after you, you send Derrick Henderson after you, send Benny Brazil after you, send Xavier after you. You're going to be fast eventually.
Yeah. Matter of fact, speaking of Santana Moss.
Oh, yeah, I should have left that out. That probably wasn't good.
What happened, bro? What happened with the altercation, man?
Yeah, man, look, me and his brother is like this.
Okay.
His brother is on the team at the time. Sonoris Moss.
Yeah, Sonoris.
He's with the Giants with me at the time when this stuff happening, right?
Yeah.
Me and Sonoris live in the same neighborhood. I was one of the first to live over the neighborhood, so all of them are over there, you know what I mean, in that neighborhood. I don't know what happened till this day. I was mad with him because when we finally found, just asking them, like, Sonari, what's going on? So Norris came to me, Corey, what happened? I'm like, I don't know, you go find out. And this is why the heat is going on. So we only came back with, man, he was frustrated because we had been battling each other, because we ain't never
Same division.
Yep, we see each other twice a year. So
you know how that goes.
The only thing I can say was that what I've heard him say, that he was frustrated, me getting the best of him, because no trash talking had ever happened.
Right.
And he took those swings at me. I'm like, okay, maybe he tripping because I got a helmet on, you know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe he tripping. Maybe I'm messing up.
Right.
And he took another one. I'm like, hold up, man. It's on TV now. I got to go back home. Like, I'm talking.
Can't take my manhood.
and then once I see red, it ain't no stopping, you know what I mean? So that's what happened to that.
Gotcha. Last question. If Corey Webster didn't play football or basketball, what would Corey Webster have been doing with his life?
I would probably be working in some industry here in Louisiana, whether it was the chemical industry, or it was being able to go out in the Gulf of Mexico and make a living or something like that. You know what I mean? So I would have to tie it to that.
Oil field.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, this was a very insightful podcast, bro. Man, like I said at the beginning, I don't take for granted when people take time out of their busy schedule, man, to come fellowship with us, man. This was very, very, very insightful. Yeah. Just for people to learn more about you and your journey, and you dropped some gems today from parents as well.
I say one more thing too, because I want to clear up with I want to be respectful to his name. Tyrone Mitchell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tucci. Yep. Cody Rain is legit. We call him Cody Rain. His name is Cody Gabriel. He did run some trouble. My dad also reached out to Cody because Cody played with me for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So I and I didn't want to just start it over, but I know you had that question.
Right.
Cody played with Josh Reed. Let's think about that. Josh Reed, LSU.
Uh-huh.
They went to the same high school. Rain is closer to Lafayette, I think.
Lake Charles.
Nah, it's closer to Lafayette.
Okay, it's in the middle.
Yeah. Well, it's Rain.
It's outside of Scott.
Yeah, so if you go Cecilia, go Bro Bridge, Cecilia, Rain, I don't want to lie to that, but it's closer to Lafayette than anything else.
Okay.
Right? Byron Mouton.
St. Thomas More.
Wrong. That's Brandon Mouton.
You're right.
All right. Byron Mouton played at Rain with Josh Reed, Cody, Gabriel, and Byron Mouton. Byron Mouton had a twin brother. If you remember, Byron Mouton first came to Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his twin brother.
Mm-hmm.
Byron Mouton transferred from Tulane to Maryland and won the championship with Juan Dixon and them at Maryland.
And Steve Lake and all that.
There you go. So that's who he played with in high school, right? Josh Reed is the Bolitnikov first, right, at LSU.
Yep.
All right. So Cody was just a natural athlete, man. Cody was doing and1 stuff before and1 video even dropped, right? So he had good battles with him as far as in AAU around the 12 to, well, really before that, 10 to 15, 16 years old. He just was a little misguided and we'll never hear the history of him. But any kids, I think he has kids. So I want his kids to know that, man, he was a talent out of this world.
I heard.
And if y'all coming up and following underneath his footsteps, man, the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? He's every bit of what they said he was. And, if y'all have any of that talent, man, just keep y'all nose in the right area and make sure y'all stay on the straight and narrow. And, the sky's the limit for those guys as well. So,
because I definitely went did my research after Tyrone Mitchell said that. And everybody I asked, like the people that was older than me, they was like, oh, yeah, G.
Yeah.
Real deal.
I asked people at the it was two spots. So Coach Jaluk had a thing for the black coaches in the area, and I asked the people from there. They was like, "Man, you pull a name out right now." I was like,
that's what Project Collins said.
And then at the coaching convention last week, did the same thing, and they was like, Man, it was one guy. He real deal. He trying to find film like to email it to me.
And Ross got some, and I got some too. But I just ain't never organized my film to be able to pull it out like that. We used to have classic battles. I say this too: the difference between Tucci and everybody, he didn't have a running mate to help him in AAU, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because even on that team, we talking about Cody, and not to take nothing from Cody, he's gone. They had Will Watson. Will Watson is another name that was on that team. That him and Cody was running mates, like. Legit. Will Watson played with Mewelde Moore.
Okay, that went to Tulane.
That went to Tulane.
Running
He
back.
also played professional baseball. Will Watson was the dog over Mewell D. Moore. Another one that just, Will is still living, but trouble.
Gotcha.
Well, Will was a great pitcher. He was a great quarterback for Mewell D. Moore, and he was Cody's point guard.
Gotcha.
Cody was the 2. Will was the number 1, and Brad Boyd benefited from that the most
Brad,
because he ended up playing that St.
Talk
Thomas
to it.
War with Brandon Mouton. Ended up going to ULL after, you know. Tucci just didn't have a running mate. I had Kerwin Jones, who was the youngest player ever, Loopy, youngest player ever to go to Tulane and catch however many passes, however many yards at 17 years old because his birthday was late. So that's for all the parents that doing the holdback. I'm not saying the holdback. I'm not saying don't do
Reese
it.
class
The Reese class kids. But this kid right here was 17 years old, in college, played for Tulane, underneath, rest in peace, Dawson. Dawson was right before him.
Juwan Dawson.
Juwan Dawson.
Man.
There you go.
Man.
Rest in peace, Juwan. He came right behind Juwan.
Yep.
And Juwan, I'm sorry. And
PJ Franklin them.
yep. He came right behind him and was at 17 years broke the record. So I had him, and I also had his little cousin, which was Anthony Richardson Tony. So we had a 380 monsters. Tucci just had, I remember just Tucci, I ain't gonna lie. So yeah, we gave him a little trouble.
Right,
You know what I mean? But yeah, but Cody, Will Watson, everything that, you know, that was a great group of kids to be around and to compete against too.
Right. Man, definitely want to get you back on in the near future, bro. You know, blessings to you and your family and your kids and stuff like that, man. I can't wait to talk to my dog DC. I was talking to him earlier, man, and he couldn't wait to know how the podcast went. So I got to hit him up and let him know that it went really, really good, bro. And like I said, I appreciate you taking out the time to come out and fellowship with us, bro.
I appreciate y'all for having me, man. I'll be back and we have, you know, debut. Some of these other myths that he got going on.
I had one miss. I had one miss.
I don't think we gave that enough time.
You know,
But we're gonna let it go. I'm sorry.
Right.
Appreciate y'all.
Right. Cash iron skillet.
That's what it was.
Right.
You know,
So all our viewers out there, man, make sure y'all follow the FanView podcast on TikTok, X, Instagram. Follow your boy G-Sportz on all social media platforms and on YouTube, man. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm trying to get to 25K, man, before 2025, man. Help your boy out. It's G-Sportz. I'm signing out.
Step Construction is here for you with a brand new offer. We now provide affordable storage sheds. Stop wasting your money on overpriced storage units and portable containers. Step Construction can provide you with a custom shed that will fit your budget and storage needs. So contact Step Construction today at 504-340-5809 for your own personal quote. Let us help you take the next step at Step Construction.
It's DatBoyFred, host of FanView podcast. Tune into the NOTN app, weekdays, 3:30 for the FanView podcast. Go to NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com to watch more episodes of FanView podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch.